Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody. It's a Tuesday edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Tyvis is here. Jason is here. I'm here. None of us were here yesterday, but we're here today. Earl, Mike, Anthony, and Steve all behind the glass. A lot to get to today, guys. Cavs play a tough game, but fall to the Celtics to drop down 3-1 in that series. The Guardians, in a game that looked like nobody was going to get a hit, score 7 runs late and win. And the Browns, we know who they're playing the first game of the season. It's the Dallas Cowboys. And
did one of us pick that?
I think I did.
Did you?
I think I did.
I
guess.
Because I remember when we did that, I picked the easiest one. I wanted the easiest one.
I picked the Chargers, you picked the Giants, he picked Dallas.
That's right. There you go.
Did you pick that? Good call. No, there you go.
I really can't take any credit. It was a complete guess. But anyway, I'm excited about it. So we'll get into all of that today. Guys, how we doing?
I'm a little upset about the loss last night. My bet that I made live on the UCSS show on FanDuel about the Cavs winning the series, it's not looking good. They offered me a cash out at 92 cents.
Yeah.
92 cents?
92 cents. I think I might take it because it's better than nothing.
Yeah. That reminds me I was supposed to send the baseball parlay in today, and I haven't done it yet, so I got to do it as soon as the show's over. Jason, what's going on with you?
I'm tired.
You're tired. Late night for you?
Late night.
Covering the Cavs?
Yeah, I didn't finish right until 2 o'clock.
And the King.
Will you be releasing an article on Savannah's hat?
No, I will not.
No.
That did not make – I wrote 1,300 words on last night.
It doesn't include that.
The hat and the wine bottle did not make the cut.
Oh, what about the wine bottle? I don't know anything about the wine bottle. How did I miss that?
I ain't seen nothing about
the wine bottle.
He had a full-ass bottle of wine under his seat.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
And he's poured it into a coffee cup like it's fooling no one.
He's LeBron. He can do whatever he wants. There's no rules.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
When you're as rich as LeBron, you do whatever you want.
I can't believe you guys did
I got
How did I not see that? Mike do it?
Yeah, he was drinking wine the whole game.
I didn't
he
notice
had a
it.
whole bottle.
I'll get you a picture. Hold on.
He had a whole bottle under his seat.
He had a water bottle, a cup of coffee, and here it is. And I'm sending you this tag board. Please get this up ASAP.
It was not coffee.
We had the Kardashians there. We had Donnie Wahlberg.
Chloe. All right, so can we tell the story about Mike's big scoop last night? I probably should have given you a shout-out on Twitter.
Yeah, you didn't. You left him hanging.
I'm sorry.
Mike, see how they do? Take the credit for themselves.
Now, all right, so Mike calls me. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm standing courtside last night, and Mike calls me, and he goes, hey, I just heard LeBron and the Kardashians, they're saving seats for LeBron and the Kardashians.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Were you annoyed that LeBron didn't call you? No. Where was he? He's your buddy.
I've talked to the man like 5 times in the last 7 years.
Okay.
Like, we are not nearly as close as everyone thinks that we are. And Mike's like, if you could confirm it. So I poked around, and I was like, wow, he's right. It's true. It was LeBron and Chloe. I think it was just Chloe was there to see Tristan. I can never keep up with them.
Which is the one he had a kid with?
Chloe.
And I don't keep up with their on again, off again, or whatever. But Mike is actually the one that tipped me off to the
Look
to
at
the
you,
LeBron
Mike.
thing.
Why didn't you break the news?
Well, I could have just tweeted it. I guess I could have just tweeted it.
Well, go ahead.
But I wasn't. I don't want to say how I heard it, but I heard it, and I wasn't like.
It wasn't enough to go on.
Yeah.
You
So
heard
I was
it
like,
through the
Jason, if you can
grapevine.
figure this out, figure it out. But I'm gonna start. This is a couple scoops now I've given Jason. I'm gonna start having to charge him. Like the ice
That's what
cream
he
man.
texted me. He goes, I'm going to start charging you for this stuff.
Yeah, really. I mean, you gave him good information. That must have blown up. When you tweeted that, it must have blown up.
I could not believe it was true.
Yeah.
I could not believe it was true.
Yeah, I texted the chat, and I said, Jason up there stirring stuff up again. It's stirring it up.
All right, well, we'll get more into that later.
Real quick, because you missed it, Steve, take tag board full here. Look on the floor. That is a bottle. Steve,
Oh,
drop
yeah,
the tag.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's a bottle of wine, a coffee cup, and a bottle of water. And he housed the whole thing.
At least he's smart enough to know that if you drink, you got to have some water to go with it. A lot of people just forget the water. They just pour in the wine.
And Jason, real quick before you go, do you know what should have tipped us all off to LeBron was coming yesterday? And bad job out of me for not noticing this. They were only serving Casamigos tequila in the gratuity pregame warm-up section.
Really?
Usually
Did you
have all
have
the
some?
different brands that you could choose.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was only Casamigos.
Did you have some?
No.
Okay.
I'm not allowed in that section. But you could see the bottles on the wall. It's usually an assortment of different liquors.
Look
last
at you.
night.
That's
One
very
day,
perceptive.
Mike.
Mike's like a detective.
Yeah.
One day, McNuggets, they're going to be saying, hey, McNuggets, come up to the suite,
That'd be nice.
I should mention, I apologize if you were one of the ones following along on the text last night. I just ghosted y'all in the second quarter and stopped with the texting. And I texted EP Steve Becker. I'm like, I got a dip on the texting. I got to go chase LeBron. So that's why if you were following along, we didn't get very far last night. I apologize. I will get back on that maybe for the next game, even though I won't be there. Maybe I'll do it for the next game. But I was stalking LeBron in this. You just never know with those guys when they're going to leave, right? You never know when he's just going to had enough and pack up and leave.
Did he didn't stay to the end of the game?
Yeah.
Did he? Oh, he did?
Yeah, he stayed till the last.
They showed him late. That's true.
It was the closing minute or so when they left.
Yeah.
So I grabbed him as we were walking out. I just want to catch up with him real quick. And we were talking about Bronny at the combine. Bronny had a very good day.
He went
At
12
the
for 12
combine.
at the on the three line.
No, he went 19 of 25.
19 to 25.
So he finished second in the three-point shooting and 40.5-inch vertical.
Saw that. But he's 6'1".
6'1".
I can't believe it. I just knew he was 6'3".
Can you play in the NBA at 6'1" without?
Donovan Mitchell 6'1".
Yeah.
Is he 6'1"?
You could.
It blows my mind every time I hear it.
But does he have? But he doesn't have a skill set of the guys.
But we talked about this before.
Yeah.
He's a point guard.
Yeah.
So when you're a point guard, you got 40.5-inch vertical. That helps.
Okay.
But I've talked to people who say this is not as bad. He was out of position at USC.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as bad as people think. He can play
Okay.
if you put him in the right spot. Now, he's probably going to be in the G League, for
Him and Amani Bates.
a significant portion or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've talked to NBA people who say it's don't be sleeping on this. Is he worth a first-round pick?
That's what I want to know. He's going to get it.
I
Between the Lakers and Cavs.
he very well might. And I wrote all about it in The Athletic today.
There you go.
Look at that.
Check it out. More on LeBron being in town. We'll talk about it later in the show. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, guys, we're going to jump in and break down last night's Game 4 loss after this quick word from FanDuel. It is winner-take-all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So we found out about an hour before tip last night that Donovan Mitchell was not going to be able to play with his calf strain.
Right.
No Jared Allen. The line went from 8.5 in favor of the Celtics to 10.5. It closed at 12.5. But lo and behold, the shorthanded Cavs battled to the very end. And, Bull, I know you were surprised, not necessarily by the effort, but by the competitive factor of this game, despite the Cavs missing their top 2 players throughout the postseason.
Maybe I'm crazy. I usually don't believe in moral victories, but I thought the Cavs played a hell of a game.
They played their asses off.
they did.
I was so impressed with this team. I thought they were going to lose by 30 in
all
this
did.
game, right?
We-
Everybody thought
we all
they
did.
would get killed.
Yeah.
And every time it looked like the Celtics, every time you had that thought of, okay, here go the Celtics, every time the Cavs made a run, I mean,
Max Strus shot him in the game. Max
Sure
Strus kept him in the
did.
game in the first
in
half.
the first half,
Yeah.
and then Darius Garland in the fourth quarter was great. Mobley played well in the second half. They got everybody that played contributed at some point in the game of the, I think, 8 guys that played in this game. And I just thought it was an excellent game. It was fun. It was exciting. The crowd was into it. They only had the lead, the Cavs, right in the beginning, and then for 30 seconds in that third quarter, they took the lead real quick. But they were in it to the final minute. They still had a chance, a fighting chance. They played their asses off in this game, and I thought the Celtics came off like losers and punks when Jaylen Brown at the end of the game finally when he's finally confident in the final 40 seconds that they've sealed the deal against a team without their biggest superstar and without Jared Allen, who was their second best player of the postseason. Then he finally talks his trash late in the game. I thought he came off as a total loser doing that. And they're a loser team, and their coach is a loser. He looks like a total dope standing on the. Have you ever seen a coach standing on the sideline look less confident than that guy ever in your life?
All right, now wait a second. I am by no means a big Joe Mazzulla fan.
Yeah,
I've made that clear on the show. But people, like, what do you want out of the coach? Like, seriously, people bitch at JB because he's always bitching at the officials. People bitched about Byron because he stood there like this. Now you're saying Joe. What do you want the coach to do?
Jason,
what should the coach do?
I don't care what he does. All I'm saying, it's not even his fault. It's his natural look. He stands there and he looks like he's going to shit his pants. Every time he's standing there, he looks completely not confident. He looks like a loser. Well, it's not my fault that's the look on his face.
His job is on the line here. What are you talking about?
Good, it should be, and I hope the Celtics get their ass kicked in the next round. I hope. I don't think they're going to, but in the finals, I hope they get their ass kicked by whoever they play. Although I hope it's not the Mavs, although the Mavs choked their asses off, thankfully, because if they play Kyrie, then I hate Kyrie and I hate the Celtics. Then I'm screwed. But I want anybody else to win but them.
Real quick, then we'll get back to the game.
Yeah.
That was the first time I was at a Joe Mazzulla pregame press conference yesterday, Jason. That shit was weird.
That was...
What happened? Tell us.
It lasted 1:22. They asked like 3 questions. He gave one-word answers to all 3, and then he was just done.
So I was talking to... Because when he walked out, I said, what was that?
I looked at Jason like, did we just watch the same? It was absurd.
Yeah, and like one of the questions was, it's human nature to have a little bit of a letdown when the other team doesn't have its best player. How do you fight through that or something like that? And he said, don't be human. It's like, okay. Well, let's just turn into aliens.
By the way,
it was weird.
See, there's the look every time. I mean, he looks lost all the time. By the way, can we stop as a society, as sideline reporters, can we stop asking? I feel like every sideline reporter now asks the player, what did you see out there? What did you see out? What did you feel out there? What did you see out there? Can we come up with something else to ask a player during the game?
I'm not a sideline reporter.
I know you're not, but can you help them, please?
No.
For crying out loud.
I mean, it's a tough job. It's
not.
Yes, it is.
They're getting paid a ton of money to do nothing.
I want to see you do it.
Wow. If I was a sideline reporter, I'd be the best in the country, except for Aditi, because I love her. Everybody else, and Evan Washburn is great. And
it would be funny.
And a couple of others. Most of them suck.
It'd be funny to watch Bull with Greg Popovich. If the Spurs are down like 25,
I'd be like, dude, Pop, I'm just asking you a question. You don't have to be a dick, do you? I mean, come on. I love you, man. But
Todd,
you're
being what did you think of the effort last night?
Let me tell you something. Nothing I said is unfair. We all know this. We all pretend the sideline reporters, most of them stink. We know this. They're overpaid, but good for them. They're getting paid. Good for them. But does anybody disagree that Jaylen Brown's a punk? You know he's a fake tough guy. Earl's a real tough guy. Let's bring Earl in on this. Earl, Jaylen Brown would get his ass kicked in the streets, would he not?
I don't know.
Come on, Earl. Come on. I need you with me on this.
Ty, what'd you make of the Cavs?
You've been out of the streets too long, Earl. You don't know anymore.
I thought the Cavs played really well. I thought the fact that it took DG, obviously he was a little slow in the first quarter, but he got going in the second, so it was nice seeing that. I really liked the first play, how they opened the game. Max Strus was a guy that I was kind of out on, this postseason because he really hadn't done a lot, but it was nice to see him start the game off, hit the first shot, three-pointer. I think he went 5 for 5 before he started missing threes, I want to say. So he had 15 points, so I thought that was big. But I just thought it was a bunch of guys that stepped up, and it was nice to see. I wanted to see how this team react now that – because for the past however many games it's been, since Game 6 of last series, it's been – Donovan, save us, lead us, take us. Like, we're just going to follow Donovan and let Donovan do his thing. Now that you remove Donovan off the court, you go back to the Cavs as of, 2 years ago, the play-in Cavs when they didn't have Donovan. Let me see what y'all do. How much better have y'all gotten? Because with Donovan, he has the killer instinct. He knows how to finish games. He can say, bleep it, give me the ball and get out the way. But now he's not there. I need you guys to play team basketball. And I thought that they did. I thought that they answered and responded in a lot of ways. I thought it was sometimes where Mobley got beat up a little bit in the paint, but when you don't got Jared Allen down there, that can be part of the thing. But he also exerted himself. One of my favorite plays is I see Tristan Thompson go out there, snatch the ball from somebody, and go up and dunk. I was like, he might be back on that stuff again. But I thought that they fought really hard. Like I said, it came down to the end. I got the answers on a lot of players that I had question marks about. Like DG. DG, where you been at? It was nice to finally see you get confident. I think once you see that first 3 go down, you got confident in yourself again, and you knew that you had to go back to being that guy before Donovan was here. And it was nice to see you start doing things well with the ball, making some good passes, but finishing. And finishing was the part that you kept missing a lot. You kept getting to the rim, but you kept missing the layup. So it was nice to see those go down. It was nice to see you hit some threes. Nice to see Evan Mobley hit a three. And I thought that every time that the Celtics was about to pull away, it seemed like somebody hit a big three to slow momentum down. Even Sam Merrill came in and hit 2 threes, which I thought was crunch time minutes.
And he missed every shot after that.
Yeah, I know. But the 2 that he hit was like, at the timing that he hit it was perfect timing. And I felt the same way with Strus. Strus hit the threes right when they needed them the most. The biggest one was Caris Levert. He got the start. I always thought that he would be the X factor coming off the bench, but I wanted to see how he could assert himself as a starter. Having the 19 points, he really does a great job of pushing the tempo on fast breaks and stuff like that, so it was nice to see. But overall, I was satisfied with it. I just wish y'all would play like that when Donovan's there. If y'all play like that when Donovan was there, we'd be singing a whole different tune.
What's interesting is Levert and Darius, neither shot well from 3. They were both much better at like getting the ball to the basket.
I think Caris was like 1 for 8 for Trey.
Yeah. Jason, do you agree with Tyvus? Do you think some questions were answered by these other guys or no?
I think it's dangerous to say everything was answered on one game or to make big, long judgments based on one game. You know, it's fun. The Darius Donovan thing is interesting because last year Darius played well playing alongside Donovan. Like the numbers show it, and we talked about that before, that they looked fine together. Played all these questions about can Donovan and Darius play together. They didn't really exist last year, but they certainly have come up this year. And then Donovan goes out, and then Darius plays well, and Donovan's had some of his best nights when Darius isn't on the floor.
Right.
But we've also talked before about not always just relying on Donovan. When you have a star player who draws as much oxygen and attention as he does, it was the same way with LeBron. You play a certain way, and then you come to rely on that piece. And then when that piece isn't there, it disrupts what you're used to. And we've seen it's like a drug for the coach and for the players. We'll just give it to him and let him go do it. And then when that leg gets swept out, well, now what are you going to do? And we saw last night, Darius answered. He got off to a terrible start, I thought. Didn't play well early. Didn't shoot it well from 3, which is funny because he's been their best 3-point shooter in this postseason. And what was he? Was he 4 of 13? Is that
4 for 13? But he took 2 at the end of a buzzer. He was really 4
so
for
4 of 11.
11 and a half, if you really want to.
So 4 of 11. But that was his best game that he's played in a while. Evan came on at the end, and I mean Max Strus couldn't throw it in the ocean this entire postseason. Makes 5 threes in the first half. He kept them in the game in the first half. Max Strus was the reason they were in that game, and it felt like the game plan last night. And I've talked before about start at the rim, get some easy baskets early, and then move back. It felt like last night was F it. Let's just shoot as many threes as we can because it's our only shot. And I thought, you know what? You're right. Go ahead and do that.
It.
Because without Donovan,
thank you.
Just jack the threes. Shoot as many threes as you can find.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of really good looks.
Oh, yeah.
Especially late in the game. They had wide open looks that just didn't go down.
Yeah. It's interesting. I talked before about how every time the Celtics felt like they were going to pull away, the Cavs made a run. Even in the beginning of the game, the Cavs start hot, 8-2, I think was the start of the game. Yeah. And then the Celtics went on a 19-2 run. Yeah. They were up 21-10. Like, the game could have been over then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It felt like you're like, oh, man. And I thought the Celtics scored what in the first quarter? 38, 36, something like
37. It was 37-30 after.
And they held them to 75 the rest of the game after the first quarter. I mean, Al Horford couldn't hit the broadside of a barn right now, but I thought the Cavs played well defensively. The effort in this game, and they got killed on the glass for a lot of the game because they just didn't have the size.
I still think that's the biggest thing, and that's because Evans down there by himself. I think the Jared Allen part of that, they would obviously do much better on the glass. And I just think that from a size-wise, like we know Mobley's not the biggest, and I feel like he gets taken advantage of. Even Al Horford sometimes bullies him a little bit.
That's true.
And that part gets to me a little bit. I know that he's young and he'll get bigger, But right now, that part is really bothering me that because like even on offense when he tries to do moves, like he don't really get no movement there. But he scored a bunch of times when it was like Drew Holiday or somebody on him. He was able to do it easily. But when it's one of those actual centers, he struggles.
He's getting a hard time moving those guys.
Yeah. He's got to figure out like at least a turnaround or something. I tell you what, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown at the end of the game, boy, they fade away game is crazy.
They're good players.
Man.
Yeah. They're good players. And they're also in year 7 and 8.
Yeah.
You know, they've been together. It's hard to believe they've been together that long, but I think they're in years 7 and 8. I think,
because Tatum was the 17 draft and Brown was the 18 draft. So whatever that lines
I
up.
thought Greg, in terms of the rebounding too, I thought Greg Anthony made some good points on the broadcast when he showed how like some of the Cavs players were not like there'd be a missed shot and the Celtics were getting easy second chances because the Cavs were not in position to contest those rebounds.
Yeah.
Rebounding, one of the biggest misconceptions in basketball is that your big is the only one who rebounds.
No, it's everybody.
One game the Cavs won. Game 2, their guards, Strus, Garland,
I think Darius
and
had
Mitchell
7 rebounds that game.
combined for 20. Yeah.
Strus
had 6. Mitchell and Garland both had 7. Rebounding, especially when you're undersized, and not just with the one big, because Horford's not a 7-footer. Mobley's actually taller than him. But when your wings are undersized like the Cavs are, it comes down to a 5-man effort rebounding. And the only game the Cavs have won, not just the scoreboard, but the rebounding battle, was Game 2. And I'm not surprised that it's a correlation that when the Cavs rebound well, they have significantly more team success. And a lot of it is partly Mobley, but a lot of it is in this matchup. You have 6'9" Tatum, 6'7" Brown, 6'5" White, 6'4" Holiday, rebounding against guys 6'1", 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah. Man, White was so good coming into the series and great in Game 1, and he can't make a shot for them. Horford can't score, but
why? Yeah. So, because that's funny you say that. When you said what you just said, McNugget, it made me think about my high school when my coach used to make us do the rebounding drill where the ball goes up. You had 5 guys out, ball goes up, everybody on defense turn around, boxes their man out as soon as the ball goes up. Why is they not doing that now? Why would you not do that now? Knowing that you undersized, knowing that Mobley's by itself, why wouldn't you be boxing your guy out to make sure, like, my guy can't get the rebound?
That's a good question.
McNugget?
Mike?
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, could be a couple reasons. I don't know exactly what the Cavs are doing. I know they're struggling to score, and I'm saying run, run, run. So part of that is
they're trying to push
pray you
the
get
tempo.
a rebound and get 2 guys in transition and try to get an easier look. The reality is it comes down to effort. And I'm not calling out anyone individually, but rebounding is an effort skill. It's about 50%, maybe that's a little low, 55% physical, but it's 45% mental. And same with defense. It's almost equally a mental decision that you're going to lock in, fight over screens, get around difficult situations, navigate following a ball handler as much as it is your actual lateral quickness and ability to jump with the guy. And when it comes to rebounding, Jason Tatum being 6'9" and can jump is going to help him get rebounds over a guy like Max Strus or Levert who are 6'3", 6'4". But it becomes a lot more difficult if you're at the right position, boxing out, forcing him out. So it's not something the Cavs had really struggled with throughout the season. They were a relatively good rebounding team with the 2 bigs. With the 1 big, it takes a much more consistent and concerted team effort to get those rebounds against the bigger team. So I don't think it's an unfair criticism, Ty. But when you look at guys yesterday, Okoro had 3 rebounds. Garland had 3 rebounds. Strus had 7. He's actually done a pretty good job all season helping control the glass from the wing position. Levert had 5. But they had 5 combined rebounds off the bench. And Dean Wade played 25 minutes last night. I know he's just coming off injury. He had 1 rebound in 25 minutes.
Bad.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
By the way, Tyvis, there was a reason why I was the elite rebounder in the PS 254 schoolyard when we would play after school. Because it was all about effort, Tyvis. And I had the effort. And let's face it, I was dominant in that role. I wish you could have seen me then.
What grade was this?
This was when we were in high school, and we'd go to PS 254. In New York, all the elementary schools don't have fancy names like we do here in Cleveland.
Okay.
Maybe in the city. In the city of Cleveland, do the schools just say a number?
No,
or the actual
they got names.
Yeah.
Okay. In New York, all the elementary schools just had a number. So it was PS 254. That was the schoolyard we would play basketball at. And I would kill it on the glass.
Back here on Earth,
Are you saying Jason, I will out-rebound you any day of the week. Any day of the week.
You talking about today?
Right now, I'm knocking you on your ass.
I actually would agree with that.
I'll tell you something else. I'll tell you something else. I would out-rebound Jaylen Brown in my prime because he's soft, and I would use my body and F him up. You punk.
Well, back here on Earth, to the point of...
I should have brought a Three Musketeer today.
You should have.
The point of rebounding and effort. Go back and look when the Cavs won the championship. The Warriors were literally putting 3 people on Tristan. And Tristan's not the biggest guy. And a lot of teams were. And Tristan, I mean, he's big, but he's not the biggest guy on the floor. He ain't the biggest guy on the floor, though. But he's the most tenacious.
Yeah.
I just told you. And then did you see what I said? He snatched that ball from somebody and went up and dunked it.
It was impressive because he's got a 2-inch now.
Chloe might need to come to every game. He tried to show out. He want that old thing back.
He was ferocious back in his prime as a rebounder. God. He was pivotal to that championship. People don't realize how important Tristan was.
Yeah, that's why he got paid $81 million after that.
Yeah, he got a lot of money, but the way he could rebound and switch on the defenders, though, he was a crucial piece to what they did.
I mean, think of the best like Dennis Rodman, all-time great.
He like
rebounder.
the worm.
He wasn't overly big and like outrageously athletic compared to the 7-foot. He's a crazy athlete. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't like he was 7'4" just grabbing rebounds because he was tall. Tristan Thompson, another example. You go through the history of basketball, some of the best rebounders in the sport. Charles Barkley was 6'5", 6'6", 6'4".
Yeah, he was a great rebounder.
It's a lot about positioning.
Only 6'4"?
Knowing where the ball's. Yeah, Charles Barkley's not nearly as big as you think.
I just knew he was like 6'7". Wow.
But also, like Rodman used to talk before, it's knowing. I mean, we're really getting in the weeds here on rebounding.
He studied how the ball would come off the rim. He like understood
it's the angles. Yes, and he knew if it's coming up here, it's probably going to go off there. He was a master.
He went from greatest rebounder to hanging with North Korean dictators. What happened?
Well, he had a little Carmen Electra in between.
She effed him up. That's what happened. All right, let's take a break. We'll get to some more details on this game in a sec.
Yeah, we're talking DG, Levert, Strus, and Mobley a little more in specific after a word from Game Time. I was at Game 4 last night. Earl was at Game 3. Electric atmospheres, and if you want to see the Cavs play potentially one more time, hopefully 2 more or 3 more times this season, there's no better place to get your ticket for the game in Boston for Game 5 or back in Cleveland for Game 6 than the Game Time app. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace for the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off, so if you want to wait till the last minute, you could actually be getting a killer last-minute deal. On Game Time, they give you all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee makes Game Time the easiest and best NBA ticket buying experience on the entire internet. So make sure you take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
By the way, unlike G. Bush, Tyvus actually answered the phone when I FaceTimed him this weekend.
Oh, G. Bush didn't answer?
No, he doesn't answer. He probably. I guess he would now.
You knew that was like a 50-50 when you. As soon as you hit send, it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
If he gonna answer it or not.
Was that this weekend? When was that? Friday?
Either Friday or Saturday.
When was Game 3?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday, right. So I went down to the arena Saturday. I was getting.
Yeah, why were you down there?
So I was. We're trying to get signatures, my wife and I, and many other people, to ban gerrymandering in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
And I ran into these kids who were collecting money for their
football
Pop Warner football.
Yeah.
And so I was talking with them. I was talking with their mom. And she signed the petition. I was like, you guys want to meet a former professional athlete? So they were excited. And so I FaceTimed Tyvus because I figured Tyvus will answer his phone. I knew he would. And he did. He talked to the kids. And it turns out their coach, did you meet him? Did I show you?
Yeah,
I can't remember his name.
He said he
now.
went to Maple.
He played for the Ravens.
Something
too.
Brown. What did he?
I can't remember.
Was it it wasn't Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. Something Brown, but he played for Maple.
Yeah.
But
I tell you, I had some awkward interactions because Like, some people don't even want, you ask them to sign something, they just look at you like you got 8 heads. I got to go. I'm like, thank you. I don't know. I'm going to end up getting into fights, so I can't do that. Anyway, the Cavs guys, you know, we talked a little bit about this earlier. Donovan Mitchell, not there. Everybody else had to step up. And I thought outside of Isaac Okoro, everybody else really stepped up.
Well, when I looked at it, this was interesting for me because obviously once this season wraps up, you know, there's some decisions that's got to be made. And I was looking at this game like, how would the Cavs look if Donovan wasn't on the team? That's how I look. That's how I went in this game. I finally get to see them in a meaningful game where they got to play hard. Is this team good enough to be great? And I was sitting there looking at it like I was impressed with the attitude and with the way that they went about everything. But I still think that they would need another star.
Of course, yeah.
Like it just like I don't think that they haven't taken the next step in their career like you thought they would at this point because they've been quote unquote handicapped by the fact that Donovan's going to do it. You know, just Donovan.
Well, I think that's unfair. I think it's unfair to call it handicapped. They've handicapped themselves. I mean,
true, but
you know,
I think Jason might have said this as he's deep in thought over here. He's deep.
I'm coming back,
but I think Jason.
Don't worry about it.
Jeez. I think Jason was telling me.
All right, ADD, I'm here.
Thank you.
What?
That the difference between like LeBron and Donovan is that Donovan won't let a game go. Like he'll say, you know what, bleep it, give me the ball like that. To where LeBron will be like, if that's what y'all want to do, go ahead. All right, go ahead, because I'm not entertaining that. Go ahead, y'all figure it out. But Donovan is like, no, I'll just give it to me. I'll figure it out for us.
I think Donovan's come around on that a little bit. We had a conversation toward the end of the season where he basically said like he had some grown up and maturity to do too.
Yeah.
But you're 100% right. If you go back, LeBron's first season here, 2014-15, when he came back the first time, there was a game at Portland. It was like the third or fourth game of the season, and LeBron literally stood in the corner at Portland and wouldn't move.
I remember that.
And watched Dion and Kyrie just dribble themselves silly. And after the game, he said, we got a lot of bad habits. We got to get up out of here. And it was very much what you just said. If that's how y'all want to do it, I am not going to be a part of this. You guys just go do whatever you want to do. And slowly he had to, you know, break the Colts a little bit, break the horses, and get them to play more of a team-style game. And very much LeBron would punt regular season games and send messages. He did it all the time. See, probably too much.
And I feel like with the growth of Darius, he still hasn't really learned that because Donovan will be like, give me the ball. Just stay in the way. To whereas Darius should have, at this point, he's been in the league, this is year 5 for him?
Year 5.
He's been in the league for 5 years, and he still does a lot of dribbling and still a lot of, like, moving with the ball and stuff. And it's like, how haven't you figured out, like, that's not going to work? Like, this ain't the video game. Like, you're not about to sit there and cross somebody over and then go, like, it don't work like that. These guys is good defenders. So you got to have a better idea of swinging the ball around. Like, maybe dribble, penetrate, then kick, something like. But it's just, for me, it just seemed like he's been the same guy that he was 3 years ago.
You're right. There hasn't been a ton of growth, I don't think, in Darius's game. If you want a level of criticism at the coaching staff, one of them is the lack of growth in Darius and maybe not as much growth on the offensive side as you expect to see out of Evan. Another thing on the LeBron-Donovan thing that I would add is Donovan is the one who's supposed to be leading them and guiding them, but he hasn't really made it very far up the mountain either.
That's true.
So it's not like, LeBron had won multiple championships when he came back here. He knew how to get there. He knew the path to get there, and he took – it wasn't that young of a team because they turned over almost the entire roster that summer, and he came back and brought in a lot of veterans. But Kyrie and Kevin, the two guys he counted on the most, were young. Kevin not so much, but certainly didn't know how to win. They didn't know how to win.
He knew how to get 20-20 in Minnesota, though.
Yeah, but
and Tristan, he hadn't done any winning.
Yeah, and Tristan hadn't done it. And Dion, they got Dion up out of here.
Right, yeah.
And they brought in JR, and that actually worked. But there's winning is a skill that you have to develop of how you learn how to do that. And Donovan is a tremendous player and a tremendous piece.
You don't think he's a winner?
What I'm saying is he hasn't made it. How far up the mountain has he gone? He's only made it to the second round.
He's never gotten past.
I guess I hear what you're saying because you're saying like, how can someone if you ain't did it,
if you haven't done it yet?
Yeah,
and that's not a knock
if
on.
That's the case. Then
that's not a knock on him, and that's not a knock on the trade at all. Like,
no,
but I'm just saying. I think he can teach Darius a lot. I think he's a better player than Darius, obviously, and I think that there's stuff that he can teach him. But in terms of how to win and advance in the NBA, it's hard for Donovan to do that because Donovan hasn't done it yet.
By the way, I don't know if we should read anything into this, and I don't know if anybody noticed it besides me, but when Jason said, talking about LeBron in 2014 now, you said when LeBron came back the first time.
You are. Look, you just as bad. He's just as bad as Jason. Y'all love just stirring it up.
Second time?
Got that cauldron over there with that witch's broom.
Is there going to be a second time, Jason Lloyd?
With that witch's broom, he's got the fire underneath the cauldron.
Jason has said multiple times on this show that the chances of LeBron coming back is now greater than 0%.
Yeah.
Is it greater than 10%?
Yeah.
Is it greater than 13%?
I'm not doing this game.
We're gonna spend the whole LeBron thing in a sec. Outside of DG though, we saw Levert show up early. He set all his points in the second half in Game 3 last night from the get-go. He made it a point to be aggressive, control the offense. We saw Strus hit 5 threes in the first half. Mobley finished the game with 19 and 10.
But
guys,
let me cut you off for a second because I don't think Strus and Levert matter because Strus here's why. Let me explain to you. Strus and Levert are who they are. They are who they are. We know who they are as players. Right?
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying last night.
Right, but what I'm saying is why I think it was important. Like, I think the story is about how Darius, Evan, and Okoro played. Because
that's bigger than Levert and Strus. I give you that. I'm just saying last night, Strus hit 5 threes in the first half. If he doesn't hit 5 threes, that game's not close at halftime.
Yep.
And you got contributions from George Niang.
Yeah,
like
I see that.
Dead.
I see
hit a 3.
Hit a trade.
And listen, I like George. Then he got cooked by Drew Holiday on 2 straight possessions. Immediately got yanked. So his plus minus was -1. Because I'm being realistic. I'm being fair. I'm telling both sides of the story. In the big picture, Bull, you are 100% right. Strus is who he is. Levert is Caris Levert.
Yeah.
And what they did last night doesn't answer any and one game's not going to answer any questions.
No.
But it doesn't give you any more clarity on what their long-term future is because we kind of know who they are. But last night, they needed everybody to step up in Donovan's absence. And everybody who played outside of Isaac Okoro had a positive impact on the Cavs being able to hang. That was more of my point.
What was Strus's contract with us?
4 for $64.
That's a bad contract, isn't it? I mean, his career 3-point numbers are not very good. Last year he overachieved. Isn't that fair to say?
Who else?
And this year he regressed to what he's always been in his career.
But this is Caris is wildly inconsistent. But in terms of is it an overpay, they didn't really have a choice.
No, not Levert.
I'm talking about Strus.
Oh, Strus.
Yeah.
Again, didn't really have a choice. You know how hard it is to get free agents to come here? Like, they paid him what it was going to take to get him here.
But they paid him. Did they pay him expecting what he did last year in Miami instead of what he's done the rest of his career?
Well, 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago?
I think the Strus thing, and I've gone around with Lima on this. He was, I thought at the time they had a glaring need at the 3.
Yeah.
He was the best option to fill it. You are only limited to what's out there, right?
Okay.
Like, whatever the free agent class is at that time,
right.
If you don't want to trade any of your nucleus pieces, well, you're beholden to what you have to pick from. I thought it was a great move to get him because I thought it was the best piece that fit what they needed. And he's been a very good player for them. Now, is he a perfect? No. Is he an all-star? No, he's not. But wait to see where these NBA sellers are going in the coming years when they sign this new TV deal. It's going to all these deals are going to look like a bargain. So, but like that's the fact that they got a free agent to come here at all.
Yeah,
is staggering because that just doesn't happen in Cleveland.
But don't you think it's because they overpaid him?
Maybe a little bit.
Was
but
anybody else going to pay him that?
Yeah, I think somebody else probably would have. Another team is sort of in that position.
Right.
He could have probably got. There are like the Kevin contract that they gave him. Nobody else was giving him that. The second contract. Nobody else was giving him that contract. But in this instance, I do think. Mike, do you think? I think another team would have signed Strus to that deal last summer.
Yeah, he got 6 for 63. I mean, Austin Reeves, who had bird rights and stuff with the Lakers, got 54. The next contract above him was Jakob Poeltl, who got 78. Dillon Brooks got $86 million. Would you rather give Dillon Brooks $86 million or Max
No
Strus
chance.
62?
I take Max Strus every day of the week over
Cam
Dillon
Johnson,
Brooks.
the Nets got $100 million. Is he?
I hear you.
30
None of these guys are good enough to be your championship winning
The issue is both, to your point and to both your points, they signed him to be a 3. He's really a 2. And their lack of size on the wings, when you look at the big picture of this roster, the fact that both of their wings are 6'4" and under, if you want to count Okoro's hair, 6'5" and under.
I mean, what's funny is go back to when LeBron left the first time, okay? Yeah. They drafted a point guard in Kyrie, a power forward in Tristan, a shooting guard in Dion, a center in Tyler Zeller, another power forward in Anthony Bennett. These were all their first-round picks. Never drafted a small forward. And then LeBron comes back. And now this time around, they did draft Okoro. But since LeBron left the first time, they've struggled to fill the wing position when he's not here. It's the most important position in the game, and it's the spot that they've had the most trouble filling, really, for 10 years, or for 15 years.
Are you guys done with Okoro? Are we done here with Okoro?
So he's not going to get this for $70 million?
He ain't getting the
he's not paying him that.
No, we were talking.
He makes
earlier.
Max Strus look like a superstar.
No, we were talking. Mike and I were talking earlier. If he had a big postseason, a good shooting postseason, he could have made a lot of money. I still believe that, but it's not.
There was two key points right there.
5 for 86.
Now the difference is Brooks was unrestricted, and Isaac's going to be restricted this summer. That does make a difference.
I can't believe, Mike. I'm not into who's getting what money. I'm into the guy is not really a player.
But it's the comp. Dillon Brooks is a great comp for Okoro because he's a 3-and-D guy.
You know what?
But he's not a 3-and-D guy. He's a D guy.
I was about to say,
if you had to label him as something, that's what you would label him as.
But
would you rather him or Bronny James?
Who? Dillon Brooks or Bronny?
Wait a second. This guy, is he ever going to get any better as an offensive player, do you think?
Isaac?
Yeah.
Yeah. He continues to get better every year. Now, I'm not paying him $80 million.
He's been horrible in the playoffs.
Yes, he has. But he's still better than he was last year, which is better than he was the year before. Like, it's not all black or white. Like, there's nuance to this. He's gotten better. He hasn't been good in the playoffs, but his game is better now than it was a year ago.
Boy, I don't like what you're saying right now because you try to make it seem like defense ain't important.
It's not that defense is not important. It's just he's pretty much useless offensively, and you can't. It's hard to play that way when you have a guy.
He's unplayable in the playoffs right now.
Right.
And he was last year too.
Yes.
But he's still a better player than he was last year. He's still improving. He's still improving.
I mean, I trust your basketball knowledge more than me.
He went from 0 points last year to 2.
But, I mean, we talked about this. I told you guys. I was talking to other coaches around the league. How would you defend the Cavs? They all said,
leave him open.
Leave Isaac open.
Yeah.
You got to pick something.
To shoot.
We're going to play off Isaac. Like, doesn't matter what his numbers are this year. If we played them in a playoff series, we would not guard Isaac.
You know what's going to happen now in Game 5.
He's going to make 5, 6
That's threes. Exactly what he's going to.
No chance.
He's going to make like 3 of them.
In the guard.
Sure.
Boom.
What happened the last time you dogged Evan?
Boom.
Evan deserved to be dogged. Okay. And I've given him his credit. I like the way Evan Mobley, for the most part, has played in this series. I think he's done a decent job. I think Evan Mobley this series has showed some improvement.
Do you think this series would have looked a lot different if Jared Allen played?
1,000,000%.
So you think that it would, instead of it being 3-1, it'd probably be 2-2 or maybe even Cavs up?
It's hard to say.
That's hard. That's hard to say.
Yeah.
But Mike has said this multiple times, and I totally agree with Boston's size issues without Porzingis.
Yeah, that's it.
They could go 2 bigs in this series. They could have had success with it.
Yeah. Don't you think part of yesterday's game though was the Celtics taking the Cavs too lightly? They didn't think they.
That's
Boston.
How many times we said Boston messes around? They screw around. They screwed around in Game 2 and got blown off the floor.
Who's going to win the NBA title right now?
Nuggets.
I've said Boston all year.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen them, I actually don't like them as much, but I'm not going to change now. I'll say Boston.
I like Denver. They're my pick before the playoffs.
If they come back, well, they're 2-2 now, right?
2-2.
So Oklahoma City's 2-2 now.
OKC's 2-2.
Yeah.
Denver.
Did Dallas have a huge lead last night?
Dallas choked down the stretch. Luka and Kyrie played very poorly.
The Knicks is 2-2. Everybody's 2-2, but
the only series that isn't 2-2.
The Knicks got a ton of injuries too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Boston's going to roll to the finals.
I wanted to see if the Cavs wasn't in it. I did want to see a healthy Knicks versus healthy
I know.
Celtics.
I'm rooting for them to win.
Because the Knicks traded for OG for that exact reason, and I wanted to see them.
Would OG be back? He's not going to play tonight, right?
I don't know.
What
is his injury?
Hamstring strain. So that could
be, he's out.
Whatever
he's out.
So you think Denver's going to win? And Tyvis thinks Denver's going to win. I don't know.
All right. If you guys want more Cavs talk, we're going to talk LeBron in a little bit. Jason and I are also having an Ultimate Cavs show tonight at 5 o'clock. We're going to dig a little deeper into the refereeing issues from last night's game. We'll talk about an update to Donovan Mitchell and how the Cavs unlock some things offensively that hopefully they can implement in Game 5 on Wednesday. That'll be at 5 o'clock. Make sure you guys tune in. In other news around Cleveland, talk about a hell of a Week 1 matchup bowl. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, my ass, heading to a real America's team, the Cleveland Browns.
Now you're sucking up.
425, Fox, Tom Brady on the call.
Yeah.
Could you have asked for a better Week 1 opening season matchup for the Cleveland Browns? Storylines galore.
Yes.
Tyvis, what do you think about this Week 1 matchup?
Well, the first thing I thought is 425 in Cleveland. That means that I won't get home till 2 o'clock in the morning. So there you go. That's literally the first thing I seen was 425.
Why 2 o'clock? Oh yeah,
because I have to do pre and post game show, which you can find me on the Cleveland Browns Radio Network. Pre and post game. Make sure that you call in, and I will answer all of your questions. But just know that if the game starts at 425, that means that game's not going to end till 8:30, which means
what do you mean 8:30? It's not a 4-hour game. 3 hours.
Trust me. Trust me.
And how long's the post game?
The post game is 2-ish hours.
Oh my God! So you get home at 1.
Something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sucks.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I like the matchup because I like the fact that I think when Bull even brought this up when we did this a month ago.
Yeah.
I like what you said about the fact that they're playing a team that's going to be nationally media always talks about the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And both teams will be fresh, so injuries won't play a part of it. So you're getting two good. You got a premier pass rush on both sides. You got two quarterbacks that need to have a big year now. You got just good playmakers out there with CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, all of these guys. So I like the matchup. It can go either way. And I feel like if the Browns do go out there and become very dominant against them, against a team that's nationally covered, they'll get the national recognition that they've been looking for. Like, oh, they did this against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys been 12-5 or won 12 games the last 3 seasons, so it's a really good opponent. And, you know, the Browns usually don't do well in Week 1. So if they can find a way to win this Week 1, which I think they won last year Week 1, they win this year Week 1 against this team and the weather don't play a part of it, like, that's what you want. You're on the map. Nobody's ducking you anymore. Last year, I think the Browns did a really good job of sneaking up on people because people was on the, it's the same old Browns. They got this new D coordinator, but who cares? The Browns are going to Brown. That's what they used to say. And the Browns was going in there smacking people right in the mouth. So I think now, last year, has gotten people alert. You go out there on Week 1 and handle business Week 1, there is no creeping up on anybody anymore. Everybody knows who you are, and now everybody's going to play you accordingly.
And but the Browns have a long history of being terrible in Week 1. However, coincidence or not, in the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show era, the Browns are 2-0 in Week 1. I'm just stating facts right now. They are 2-0 in Week 1. It seems like, by the way, since they've come back in '99, that the Browns are at home almost every year in Week 1. I don't know why that is, but way more often than not, they've been at home in Week 1, and they are again this year. It's Dallas. A couple other things that I think are interesting in this matchup, Jason. I like Denzel Ward versus CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if they'll be locked up one-on-one, but that's a fun matchup. And your boy, Zeke Elliott's going to be the starting running back for the Cowboys, which is hard to believe that he's the starter there.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, at this point.
I was just with him, what was that, last month?
Yeah, what did he
Can you get him on the show, Ty? Can we get a little Zeke preview?
I'll ask him.
Matchup?
I'll ask him for sure. No, we did this event together.
Yeah.
Zeke is Zeke, man. Zeke,
okay.
You have to know Zeke to
appreciate it.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He's a funny guy. Right. I love kicking it with Zeke.
Jason, you were someone who was looking for the Cavs to play an easier opponent. This is not the toughest opponent on their schedule. What Cavs. I said Cavs?
Yeah. You still got
for the
Cavs
Browns to have an easier opponent in week 1. The Cowboys, certainly not the toughest team on the schedule, but they're closest to the top than the bottom.
It's a good match.
Yeah.
You're gonna see Deshaun if he's healthy and out there, which all indications are he will be. You're gonna get a stern test right away with that Cowboys defense. And actually, my first thought when I saw it was, well, the Browns are out of timeout now. Like the purgatory.
Yeah, right.
Don't nationally spotlight Deshaun. Well, there is no bigger spotlight. Well, I guess the Sunday night game, but Tom Brady's first game is a pretty big spotlight to
and
put 425.
There's only going to be a couple of games at that time.
Yeah, that's the showcase spot that they're in. So that tells me that there's probably a lot more national games to come for the Browns when the full schedule is released. Just because if you're going to do it in week 1, then you're really ripping the Band-Aid off with the Deshaun thing. But it's a great matchup. It's going to be a fun matchup. You nailed it. Full credit to you. I wanted an easy win. I thought, well, pick the Giants. Pick an easy game on the schedule, make it at home, and get off that 1-0 start.
Chargers would have been.
Yeah. I love this matchup. I think it's exciting. I like having it, there's always going to be a buzz from us and in Cleveland for the Browns in week 1. But this creates a national buzz. And I know a lot of it will be directed towards the Cowboys, but the Browns have become, in the last few years, because of the controversy, first with Odell Beckham, then with Baker Mayfield, and now with Deshaun Watson, the Browns have become a notable team nationally. They get talked about a lot more.
I feel like they went from really well-liked to hated.
Oh, yeah.
Almost overnight.
Yes.
Like, people were good for the Browns and good for that fan base. It's been so long since they had anything, and, when Baker had them rolling.
Yep.
And then when they signed Deshaun, it just turned like that.
Yes.
To like one of the most hated teams in the league.
Because a lot of people like Baker. Kevin Stefanski's a likable guy, and Nick Chubb is a likable guy, and people like Myles Garrett. But, Deshaun Watson, a lot of people don't like him. Yeah. So it certainly changed. But I'm excited about the matchup. I like the slugfest. I like that he's battling another good quarterback. The Cowboys are going to want to throw the ball. With Zeke as their starter, Zeke's old. They're not going to be running the ball a ton. He's old for a football player,
That's facts.
Whoa.
It hurts, but it's true.
He can still play.
Listen, we not doing that.
You're falling over the tire ladder.
We're not doing
ladder
that.
drill.
Listen, when Zeke became the premier back in New England, he was
He
good.
did a decent job.
He was good.
He's got, if we said last year,
800 yards. He gonna hit
Jason
800
made
yards.
famous the idea of Kareem Hunt being on 3 wheels. We'll say Zeke's on 3.5 wheels.
One of them's flat. He's got 4 wheels, but one of them's flat.
Can I meet you at 375?
All right, I got you. To be fair,
he's just got one flat tire.
To be fair, he was decent in New England, considering they had nothing around him.
Yeah.
He did a decent job, and he still, like Kareem Hunt, has a nose for that end zone and the short yardage. He can still do that at a very good level. But I'm very excited about this game. I think, and the fact that Tom Brady's calling the first game. How good do we think Tom Brady's going to be as an analyst?
Excellent.
I actually think he's going to be really good.
Yeah. I think he's going to be excellent.
He should be.
Because the thing is, he knows the game, and I think as of lately, he's come off as a very personable guy. With the roast, with the antics on TikTok and Twitter. He seems like a really cool, down-to-earth guy, and I think that's what people want. I think people are tired of seeing the standard analysts. They just blah, 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 blah. I think he'll actually throw some jokes in there. He'll share some stories in there, and I think that'll make it more interesting.
I think he will have no problem being critical.
That's the key
of these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He's already shown that.
I'm about to say he did it now.
That's it. I think he's going to be awesome because I don't think he's going to be afraid to be critical.
Yeah.
And that's the key. Some players come into the booth and they don't want to be critical.
He's got the juice and the money.
Yeah.
He doesn't need this job. He ain't doing this for the money. He's doing this so he has something to do and stays connected to the game.
I don't know.
And who's this play-by-play guy?
Oh, it's a lot of
That's
money.
what I'm saying.
It's Burkhardt, right?
Kevin Burkhardt,
He could retire tomorrow, go golf for the rest of his life, and never need another dollar.
Who, Brady?
His grandkids won't need another dollar. He ain't doing it for the money, although he is getting a lot of it.
He might be on child support.
He is, but man, I think it's funny that at the roast, the only thing that was off limits was making fun of the owner.
And the kids.
Well, but nobody was going to bring up the kids.
I don't know. The woman said she had a long list of jokes about the
Oh, really?
The kiss with his. Remember that kiss with his kid, the son
His
or whatever.
son and Thomas Time.
I didn't remember that.
And she knocked out. She wiped all those.
Yeah,
out.
to me, that's the only thing that should be. Don't make fun of somebody's kids.
But I really respect Tom for that. I mean, you
For
could
the
think
kids?
no,
The
for
owner stuff?
for the crafting. You could think what you want about Robert Kraft, and you can dislike him, and that's fine. But from Tom's perspective, Robert Kraft has been very, very good to him, obviously throughout his career. And for Tom to say, "This is about me. You can go after me all you want. Don't touch him."
I don't agree.
I liked it.
Yeah, I didn't like it because he let it. You were able to go after everybody else.
Who did he go after? His ex-wife and him.
They went after Gronk. They went after.
But those guys.
That's it. But
Belichick.
that's a locker room.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! Well, you can't make fun of the owner. I mean, he went
The guy
who cut your check.
How much
no.
money has Robert Kraft paid Tom
Are
Brady?
you serious? The guy that's
I'm glad they made the joke about him.
Listen,
he's disgusting.
Like I said, wait a minute. Before you do that, like I said, put the camera on me, Steve.
Oh, boy.
Jimmy and D. Haslam, I really do appreciate everything that you do for my radio check. I just received my check in the mail yesterday. I appreciate it.
Did it have the extra 100 in it?
Not yet. We still in negotiation phase.
You think they pay you more with all the billions?
You know what? I got to get my representative on it. Last time when we negotiated, I had to get one of my representatives involved and put him in contact with him, and he handled it for me. My representative is the name of Richard Sherman. He actually handled that for me. So shout out to Sherman.
Richard Sherman negotiated with Jimmy Haslam. No,
not Jimmy, but but my boss.
I think you should let me negotiate.
You want to do it?
I'll do it for you. Let's go.
I think I need representation.
You want to represent? You want to be a
listen,
we can do a three-way call.
JW's at the game last night.
I just only won a couple.
Was he?
Yeah, JW's at the Cavs game last night.
Man, that guy earned his money, no doubt.
I put together a list. We've talked about some of these, but I did a unofficial top 5 most interesting storylines in immediate reaction to learning that the Cowboys and Browns were the Week 1 matchup. So these were the 5 that I came up with in order. There's no graphics or anything, but number 5 is the debut of Jerry Jeudy against this Dallas secondary, who was a bunch
That's the number 1 storyline?
No, number 5. Number 5. I'm going 5 to 1. But the debut of Jeudy and whatever this new passing attack looks like against a pass rush that's obviously really talented with Micah Parsons and a secondary that's getting Diggs back after having Deron Bland set the pick 6 record. So seeing how Jeudy and these
Gilly
weapons
no
go
more,
up.
right? Gilly gone, right? Stephen Gilmore, Stephon. Oh my God!
No, I think he's still a free agent.
So he's not with Dallas, though.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he's a free agent, but I don't know. It's all right. You don't need to know off the top of your head.
No, Gilboy's still in Dallas.
Is he?
Look at that, Tyvus. You misled us.
I thought he was a free agent. I promise you he's a free agent.
I obviously did, too.
The article says Stephon Gilmore still has plenty to offer Cowboys at cornerback in 2024. Looks like he's still a free agent. But either way, they have Deron Bland. They get Diggs back. So it's a good secondary.
Deshaun
I'm
better
curious
be
to see what
careful
this new
because that
offense
one
looks
corner
like.
was pick 6. He broke the record last year for most pick 6s in a year.
He did. That was Deron Bland. I just said that.
Did he say that? I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, thanks.
My ADD's rubbing off. You're catching it.
It is.
You're catching it.
Number 4 is a completely revamped Dallas offensive line going up against the reigning defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, who I have a feeling is going to look at this as not a personal one-on-one battle because defensive guys can't go up against each other, but with Micah Parsons on the other side, that's the next up. It's still Myles' crown he has to come get.
And we know Myles plays his best football in September.
And he was a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys. If you remember when he was getting drafted.
Yes, he's from Arlington.
He definitely said, if y'all want to trade up to get me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
He went to Arlington Martin High School, which is about 10 minutes away from Jerry World. So next up, Deshaun and Nick Chubb's health. Is Chubb going to play? Is Deshaun healthy? We'll find out. Number 2 was Tom Brady being on the call. And number 1, and Ant, will you pull up the clip I sent you? This happened over the summer. And if you missed it, I cannot wait to see this rivalry get reignited on Week 1. Steve, play with sound.
The David and Joe.
How do you think he did in the first half?
I thought he did amazing. He made great adjustments. He obviously showed why Cleveland's Cleveland and ran.
Whoa. That's a crazy shot.
Don't give us that political.
David, you have an opportunity for a rebuttal here. Obviously, that first half didn't go the way you wanted.
It's cool. You
Okay.
You understand one thing, and excuse my voice, it's gone. When the losses come with big bosses, one thing you got to understand is he said Cleveland to Cleveland, but we're both here. I mean, we're both playing this Madden game.
I think that's a shot.
So you got to make it make sense.
Any person who's reenacting Meek Mill lyrics is like I can't take them serious. I mean,
but am I lying though?
No, you try to be lyrical, but those not even
being
good lyrics.
lyrical. I'm saying we're both fitting.
Lyrically, I'm supposed to represent.
He has a good point, bro. We all here.
So what are you saying? Cleveland, Dallas,
well, okay, fair enough. Well, let's take it back to this game for a second. Tyreek, you are back in a similar situation that you were last year. How do you get your team?
Is there an athlete, a Cleveland athlete, who has grown in popularity? Did you know where I was going with that?
Who's grown in popularity in Cleveland for defending the city to the extent that David Njoku
has grown in popularity over the last year.
Like 2-3 years ago, he was persona non grata.
Absolutely.
Here. Like people wanted him out. He was a bust. And
in the last year, 12 to 18 months, his popularity in this city, I'm not saying he's the most popular athlete in Cleveland, but from the baseline of where he was to where he is, I can't think of an athlete who has grown more in popularity. Especially one who's been here he's been here a long time.
Every other guy I can think of, at least since I've been here for 13 years, either started high, they maybe got higher, but they started high,
right?
Like a Nick Chubb or whatever, or their popularity went down,
right,
as time went on, like Baker Mayfield, Odell, sure, but yeah, I mean, he was like, if you ask people, certainly even a couple years ago, but if you asked people like 3-4 years ago to rank your favorite Browns, he would have probably been on the bottom of the list.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's
at one point he wanted to be traded.
Yeah, asked for a trade.
Yeah,
and I really enjoy him. I think he's really grown into his personality.
Great personality, yeah.
And he used to be real quiet, never really said a lot. And just the last year or two, this coming out party,
it's because he don't back down from nobody. He.
If I looked that way, I wouldn't either.
I mean, if you do one of his workouts, you will.
Well, you got to do a lot more than one.
You're right about that. Me and McNuggets,
I think I could work
out. Me and McNuggets supposed to go back, and we still ain't went back.
I could do that workout every day for the rest of my life. I ain't gonna look like him.
That's true.
I don't know. First of all, you can't.
Will
do
it
that
make me grow 6 inches?
Yeah. I mean, we'd be in great shape.
Well, wait a minute.
We're not gonna look like him.
Wait a minute. See, now this is where you're wrong. Today's day and age.
Yeah.
You can get surgery to get 6 inches on your knees. They can make you taller nowadays.
I would like that. I want knee surgery.
I am almost 48 years old. I am not adding 6 inches.
I'll tell you though,
knees.
I'm older than you, Jason, and I'm down with that. I want to be 6 inches taller. I got is this covered by insurance? Can I get? I mean, my whole life would change if I were 6 feet tall.
Said I'm down with that. No, but David Njoku.
Imagine having 8-inch knees.
David Njoku has been really, really tough. Like he goes out there. I mean, he's running dudes over, and he backs down for nobody. He don't let nobody talk crazy about his organization or the city that he's playing for.
Yeah, I love
you got to get behind a guy like that. That's why it's easy to root for a guy like that.
Yeah, he did one of those videos with our guy Dave Richard, who's been on our show before.
Yeah.
And Dave joked about Cleveland. He wasn't making fun of Cleveland. Dave loves Cleveland. I saw it get reported as Dave Richard was taking shots at Cleveland. He did, if you watch the video. He knows Njoku, and he was joking with him. But Njoku was basically like, if you weren't a fellow Miami Hurricane alum, I would kick your ass right now.
He said, I'll hit you in an uppercut.
Yeah, right. It was good. You're right, Jason. I mean, I'm trying to think of another Cleveland athlete.
J.R. Smith.
Whose popularity has grown. But
JR is actually a good example.
That is good, but JR was never as low as Njoku was.
Yeah, people liked him right away.
But JR's popularity was higher than Njoku's is.
Yeah, I mean the championship.
Yeah, right.
The championship and showing up shirtless made him a Cleveland legend forever.
But I don't think Cavs fans were ever
against him.
They were neutral on him, probably.
Yeah.
Whereas Njoku was at one point
disliked.
Fans wanted him out.
Yeah.
And now he's one of the most popular guys on the team. He's really turned it around.
JR's a good one. I mean,
that was good.
Everyone's always loved Jose on the Guardians, so that's not
Is
really.
there a Guardians player we
What's
didn't
the dude
like?
Matthew Dellavedova?
Nobody didn't like him.
He was just scrappy.
His popularity certainly grew, but again, in the beginning he was neutral.
Yeah, he was.
But
scrappy.
for a player that was unliked,
I don't think he was unliked.
Oh yes, he was. Fans were pissed. He wanted to be traded. When you say you want to be traded from the Browns, fans get pissed.
Genu wanted to be traded.
And Genu's not that popular.
Yes, he is.
Not like David Njoku.
Actually, he was the hottest topic this offseason.
Genu denied that he wanted to be traded. I don't think David Njoku ever denied it.
No, he
supplied it.
He doubled down on it. Yeah, I want, and I still want to be traded.
By the way, other news from the AFC North: the Ravens are playing at the Chiefs Week 1.
Oh, and then the Bengals the Bengals.
The Bengals are playing at the Chiefs in week 2.
So remember last year when they had that for week 16 or something like that?
Yeah.
And I said they messed that up. Guys might be hurt. Nothing.
Yep.
They learned.
Yeah.
I told you.
I'm actually
Make the good games early when everybody's healthy, because that's what everybody want to see.
I'm like really excited for football, and I never worry about
you
football
feeling
in May. I never care about football.
You gonna go to OTAs?
I get so sick of.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm that excited.
Going to OTAs? Yeah, now.
But I get so
Let's
sick
not get
of
nuts.
I get so sick of having to talk about football in May.
Yeah, right.
June, and this year for some reason
I'm
like
super pumped.
I'm hearing these teams coming out, the schedule coming out.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's go.
I'm excited to see this get. The only thing that sucks about being excited about football is that it rushes the summer.
Yeah.
You don't want to rush the summer.
Don't want to rush the
but
summer.
I'm with you. I can't wait for football
That's
season.
very true.
Go ahead, Mike.
While I do this read, think if there's any other athletes that have jumped in popularity. You got a few seconds here to put your mind to it and see if we can come up with any other names that match with David Njoku. Guys, Game 4 was electric at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. It wasn't the result the Cavs wanted, but the atmosphere was unmatched, and making it to any type of NBA playoff game is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. If you want to see the Cavs play again this season, Game 5 might be your last chance, and Game Time is helping you get the cheapest prices possible to get that ticket in Boston. And you're on Game Time right now. What's the cheapest ticket you get into the Garden for on Wednesday?
Cheapest ticket is Section 305, Row 11 for $108 a piece.
Oh, that's a steal. And the best part about Game Time is if the closer you get to tip-off, the prices actually go down. So it may be $108 now. It'll be even cheaper come tip-off. And Game Time shows you the all-in prices. So that's not $108 before the taxes get added on. That is $108 right now. You can also see the view from your seat. And Game Time has a lowest price guarantee that takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. The app is easy to use. They have all different kinds of features like last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. It's easy to buy tickets, not just to NBA games, but Major League Baseball, NFL, concerts. Whatever you want, you can find it on Game Time. They also have event cancellation protection and job loss protection in case something happens. But they have everything you could possibly imagine, from priority last-minute deals, zone deals, and their lowest price guarantee will make sure you get the best price possible. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Just download the app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Two obvious guys we didn't mention in this conversation. Number one, Joe Flacco.
Oh, well.
Now, he wasn't hated on the Browns.
I still call him a Tinder date. He
Okay.
was a Tinder relationship.
And the ultimate.
Burned hot and fast. And
How about
turned
the
out
guy?
quick.
How about the guy who went from here
Raja Davis.
to here again? LeBron.
Oh, well.
Speaking of LeBron, he was obviously courtside. I know he used Game Time to buy that ticket yesterday.
Mike, can I finish our point here before we transition me over?
Well, you LeBron me to LeBron.
But wait a second. I wanted their comments on LeBron.
I don't know that LeBron.
Does that not count?
I don't think
Fans
LeBron
hated
fits. They did hate him.
Yeah, they did.
But they only hated him because he left, and they loved him again because he came back.
Right.
That's it. Like
That's true.
That's
now,
it.
and now he's stamped. You can't hate him ever again.
Oh, there's still plenty of
there's
people who
still-
hate him.
How can you
I
hate
hear
him?
from people
Haters.
all the time
For sure.
that
Large
don't-
contingent out in Geauga County.
that
No,
don't
that-
want him back.
Nobody hates LeBron.
Oh,
I think I was one of those dopes about a year
sound
ago said he didn't want him back.
I sound like the clan on Django. Nobody said we didn't appreciate what Jenny did. That's how I feel about this. But no, nobody hates LeBron. Nobody.
Oh,
he
yes,
won
they
a
do.
championship.
Oh,
why
yes,
would
they
they
do.
hate LeBron?
You're naive.
I'm putting in the
Tyvus.
poll
Y'all
right
gotta
now,
check this
Tyvus.
out. There's
he left us twice.
So what?
That's
He
what
delivered his
I
point.
heard from these
Agreed, but
people
there's a
all the
small
time.
percentage of fans
Oh, it's
who
not
are like
small.
that.
They
It's
need
not
to.
small.
They ungrateful. That's what
true.
Kyrie said. They're ungrateful.
Well, Kyrie's a dope. Let's be honest.
He's like my second favorite basketball player.
Oh,
I can't justify with all the off the court stuff.
Yeah.
On the court, that
he
man
is a dumbass. Let's face it. Go ahead.
So
Mike.
we know LeBron used Game Time to get those courtside tickets last night.
course.
I'm sure he
Him
did.
and him and his wife.
Isn't that funny
Savannah,
that the
sitting
richest
courtside.
people don't have to pay for anything? What a world.
He used the game.
He used Game Time. He got $20 off,
Sure he
just
did.
like us,
Go
LeBron,
ahead.
certified Game Time user. But Jason, that's your guy. What'd you make of LeBron deciding to come to Cleveland and sit courtside for a playoff game on national television with all the other circumstances swirling around his offseason?
Well, I had to pick my teeth up off the floor after you called me and said what you had heard, that he was coming last night. I never would have guessed in a million years LeBron would show up at a Cavs playoff game. I mean, listen, first thing I thought was, well, the only other time this man has come to a Cavs game as a spectator since he entered the league was in March of 2014 when they retired Z's jersey, and he came back that night.
Big Z.
And sure enough, 4 months later, he came back for good. And this was totally unprompted, completely unnecessary, and he just showed up again. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he was in town. I love the Brian picture. He was in town for Mother's Day. You know, him and Savannah came back to see the moms for Mother's Day because obviously his season ended early. And how many Mother's Days has he really had the opportunity to spend with, you know? So that's why they were here. And I think he's going to Chicago from here to go to the NBA Combine. But, I mean, it's wild. And people can say, oh, he's just leveraging the Lakers. He's just putting pressure on the Lakers. But he doesn't have to. The Lakers have already said, yes, we will take Bronny. We will give you a max deal. They can offer him a 3-year, $164 million deal this summer. They said, done. Yeah. Like, there is nothing. He's got him, period. Yeah. They'll give him whatever he wants. Yeah. So I don't necessarily buy that it's a leverage play or a power play on the Lakers because they'll already – this isn't like Pat Riley would not cave to LeBron in Miami. The Lakers are just laying back and saying – whatever you want.
Spread eagle.
Spread them. Whatever you want. So, I don't know if it's necessarily a power play on the Lakers.
No. LeBron came to this game clearly to see one thing. Let me see what they look like. You know, obviously I get to see them on TV. Let me just see what they look like. I think, to be honest with you, it would make the NBA better next season if two moves happen. LeBron went back to the Cavs, and Kevin Durant went back to OKC. I think both of them would actually.
Does OKC want Durant?
I don't know, but if he said he wanted to go back to where he's
still one of the top players. Why would you not?
He would fit perfectly with them.
But he fits with them too. That's
I think that those two moves would make the NBA very interesting.
It would be phenomenal if both of those
because they both went back to where they started. Yes. Kevin Durant, although people say, "Oh, he's going back to the #1 team in the West," he can stay. I want to go. I want to get a championship where I started my career. I want to end where I started my career.
He would be terrific on that team.
I know.
He would be terrific.
What's more likely, LeBron to the Cavs or Durant to Oklahoma City?
Don't make me answer that.
Let's put up a poll. Should we make Jason answer that question?
Should we make Jason?
It's the Cavs, obviously.
Put in a poll.
Yeah.
By the way, we put the poll up, so we have to end the poll to put a new poll up. We asked, does anyone still hate LeBron? 12% said yes, they still hate LeBron.
Yeah.
Hey, that's sick. Y'all,
it is sick.
I thought it'd be higher.
Y'all need to be.
I would have guessed 15 to 20%, or maybe even higher than that.
That's ridiculous.
I don't disagree.
So you've been a fan of Cleveland sports all these years, and nobody's won anything. You hate the guy that brought the championship that ended the drought?
Yep.
How can that be?
People are crazy.
How can that doesn't even begin? And then on top of that, they screwed LeBron his last year. They got rid of Kyrie, traded him for a bag of chips, and said, here, you take this trash lineup and you go to the finals with that. And he still did it.
It feels so good to hear somebody other than me scream that because
what are you talking about? We've been screaming that for years.
People just gloss over that. That
they did him wrong his last year. They did him so wrong.
They traded Kyrie for a draft pick. They started the rebuild while LeBron was still here with a chance to win another championship. Now it's worked out. I still think they could have won that championship. They absolutely could have won the championship in 18. They could have had 2 titles.
Who's their best player there? Jordan Clarkson?
Oh, my God in heaven. No, I mean, Kevin was their second best player.
Oh, yeah, Kevin was still
Kevin's still in the league, by the way?
Yeah.
He's with the Heat.
Yeah, he's with Miami.
Did he play for them at all?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, he did.
Jason, let's talk about if LeBron came back.
Okay.
If was a fifth.
Looking at this current team. Well, first of all, how would you facilitate it money-wise to get him back?
Garland's gone.
You either have to make a trade for him.
Okay.
And you have to make the money match, which means you're moving on from 1 or 2 key pieces, which I can't believe that they would do that. Like, I just don't see the Cavs picking 2 pieces, valuable pieces, and moving on for a 39-year-old LeBron.
So Garland and Mobley's gone.
I don't think it would be those two. There is a trade that works.
Okay.
Money wise, the other option, and I know this is I don't think he would do this, but he told me in 2022 at All-Star Weekend I would do whatever it takes to play with my son. It's not about money at that point. So if you're the Cavs, you tell him, all right, we'll take Bronny. You come back and play on the mid-level.
But he wouldn't do that, would he?
He just said whatever it takes. I would do whatever.
That? He would do that?
I just said. I don't know how realistic it is.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me he will opt out of his – what's his –
$51 million
the guy is a billionaire.
I don't care. So what? Nobody ever got – whoever said they didn't want more money.
Which is why let me ask you. You're 100% right, which is why I don't think it's realistic. But if you're asking how does it work, that's one way it works. We'll take Bronny at 17.
And the Cavs keep their whole roster.
Real quick, Mike, hold on before you jump your comment in. Do you think this has ever happened, and could this happen with LeBron? They pay him the mid-level exception, and Dan Gilbert pays him the rest of the money under the table.
I'm sure it's happened before. I'm sure it's happened before.
Go ahead.
Just so people understand, these are the 4 ways LeBron could join a team this summer, essentially, and this is specifically for the Cavs.
Yeah.
They do have a $13 million, it's 12.9 mid-level exception to use this summer. He could always sign for the veteran minimum. He opts into his player option for $51 million and then demands a trade, or he opts out and the Cavs and Lakers can work some sort of sign and trade together. Those are the 4 actual avenues for LeBron to return to Cleveland in some capacity.
Well, let me ask you guys this. If he signed, let's say you sign him to the mid-level exception.
Yeah.
Could they then, at the end of the year, pay him a max extension? Or is there something about signing a mid-level exception that prevents a guy from
it's a good question, and I don't remember the CBA particularly. I don't want to say something incorrect. I'd have to go back and look at the CBA. There's rules about, like the Lakers can only offer 3 years because of his age. Once you cross a certain age, you can only extend a guy 3 years.
That makes sense.
So it's the max that the Lakers can sign him for this summer is 3 years, 164. Now, could he sign a 1-year deal on the mid-level?
And then get 3 years whatever after, so he'd make the same money over 4 years.
But he's not going to play 4 more years.
But they give it to him anyway because he agreed to play for nothing this year, essentially.
I mean, but he's not going to be in the league. He's not going to play 4 more years.
He won't? No chance?
No. He's not played 4 more years.
When is
I think you get 2 at most.
What's his youngest?
I mean, he could play 4 years.
How many years to his youngest son? He got
Bryce.
2 more years.
Bryce is a sophomore, right? Is he sophomore?
Is he? I thought he was a junior.
No, I think he's going to be he's 2 years younger than Bronny, so he was a junior this year.
Okay. So
I believe
he could be in the NBA in
3 years.
3 years. He's not going to stick around that long.
By the way, how big is Bryce?
To the end. He's bigger than Bronny.
6'7".
He's bigger
Bryce
than
is listed on 247 as a 6'4" class of 2025 shooting guard.
I don't know how tall. I know he's bigger than Bronny. I don't know.
Yeah.
They lie all the time on those. Yes, you found out.
I can't believe that. My heart broke. It did. 6'1".
But let me ask you
I'm
this.
bigger than that. I'm taller than him.
I think you got 2 years of LeBron left.
Okay.
At most.
Let's be crazy and say LeBron comes back to Cleveland on the mid-level exception. Let's be crazy.
Okay.
Okay? What would LeBron want the Cavs to do with this roster? Like, would he want Garland out?
Darius is a clutch client.
Oh, so he'd want him here.
I think he'd want him here.
Well, so what about Donovan?
His role.
He doesn't want Donovan out, right?
I don't think, regardless of the LeBron thing, I don't think they're going to make massive changes to this roster.
You said that to me last week.
But I'm holding back a little bit because I'm not 100% positive
on what Donovan's going to do.
No, it's not even the Donovan piece. I'm just not sure. But I actually think Donovan's going to stay.
I told you last week. I'm leaning towards that way.
What has changed your mind on this?
Just the way he's been acting.
Something has changed with Don. I mean, he tucked people around the building. He's just different the last few weeks. But beyond that,
where's he going to go?
Well, he's got number one. He's got calf and knee injuries right now.
Yeah.
Take the money. It's probably minor and insignificant.
Yeah.
You got $200 million in front of you this summer. Bend down and pick it up. Take the money.
Yeah.
You can figure it out. All you're doing is you're kicking the can down the road a year.
Right.
We've talked about that.
You can demand a trade later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the money now. You give this thing one more year
Yeah.
to see where it goes. I'm sure they'll make whatever changes he wants to make. And again, we're setting the LeBron piece aside. This is only the Donovan piece. and I think he's gonna sign. I think he's gonna stay, and I don't think that they're gonna make massive changes. LeBron has been highly, again, go back to the All-Star weekend in 2022 when I was talking to him. He was highly complimentary of this roster. He loved the Jared Allen trade.
Yeah,
this is a couple years ago.
He loved Mobley, didn't he?
Yeah, because
they asked him about it.
He was highly complimentary of Kobe and the job that Kobe's done in rebuilding this roster. And Kobe and LeBron didn't see eye to eye when he was here.
Yeah, because he gave him a bag of chips on the way out the door.
But Kobe was in a really tough spot.
He was.
Like that, he was thrust into a terrible position.
LeBron on this team, they're the favorites to win it all.
Absolutely.
Unless Kevin Durant go back to OKC.
No, if you put LeBron on this team, they're going to the finals.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
I want to know how that looks.
Yeah. And he also knows, like that ovation that he got last night.
Yeah,
he's not getting that in LA.
No,
LA has never, and I think he's never said this. I think it surprised him how chilly his reception has been. Like he's been there for years now, and he's like
it's Kobe.
They still look at him as you'll never be Kobe. Like you're not Kobe to us. You're never going to be Kobe
Kareem,
to us.
And you're not Magic, and the list goes on and on.
And I mean,
because all of his accomplishments
were elsewhere.
I mean, he did win the one.
Everybody looks at that ring as fraudulent. Come on, it's a
I'm
COVID
telling
ring.
you, I was not in the bubble.
Yeah.
You talk to anybody who was in the bubble, and they will tell you that was legit. That was really hard, just emotionally, mentally. It was a taxing time, and that ring counts. But I know publicly people dismiss it. But he did win a championship there. But he will never be loved in LA the way that he was cheered last night. And I think that matters to him. So I've said like most people think I'm crazy and there's no chance, and he's going back to LA. Savannah is set up in LA. She ain't coming back to Cleveland. Like she's not coming back. And he's never lived away from his family. That matters. Like there's a lot there's a lot that goes into this. And I do think he's going to spend his retired years in LA. He's setting himself up for that. So would you really leave now?
She ain't coming back.
She's not coming back.
Go ahead, Mike.
If you look at the videos, it looks like LeBron was having a much better time than Savannah last
Wait a minute.
I agree.
One last question, then we'll talk Guardians because we got a guest coming on. But big picture, LeBron sitting courtside, is that more of a scouting trip or a power play? What do you think?
Both. I think it was no one has mentioned LeBron's name in a week and a half, so he's going to fix that.
You're right.
And he's going to make sure that everyone's talking about LeBron. And it worked.
Wait,
here we are.
Savannah did look miserable. She did look like she had no interest in being there whatsoever.
Wait a minute. Glad you brought her up.
Yeah. The hat?
No, not the hat.
Oh, yeah.
Their youngest son, Bryce.
Yeah.
If he decides to come to, let's say he just goes to the Ohio State University because it's a really great place to be, would she come to the games?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
She would come to the games.
Okay.
They can go anywhere they want. They could be there in no time.
But she loves her life in LA.
Loves everyone.
Does he have his own private jet?
I don't.
But
I don't know. I think
he has one to use whenever he needs it.
Yeah. But here's one thing before we move on real quick.
Yeah, let's do the Guardians after.
Well, Brooks not ready yet, so we'll start Guardians. Right. We got two different Guardians things. But last thing,
I was having a conversation with somebody in the league a couple weeks ago, and this was a really interesting thought. And I didn't write this, but like 2014, okay, you're talking to LeBron, and I don't know that this happened.
The year he showed up and stole my jersey. Go ahead.
I don't believe that this did happen. But let's say 2014, Cavs are negotiating with LeBron to come back.
Yeah.
Dan's in his house in Miami. They're repairing the wounds from the letter and all that. Yeah. LeBron says, I'll come back if you grant me one wish. When my youngest son is draft eligible, you take him in the first round. Ooh. Would you do it? In 2014.
In 2014.
If LeBron said, the only thing I want, I'll come back, the only thing, I'm not saying this happened.
You're saying if I'm Dan, would I hold up my end up?
Yeah. If you're the Cavs.
Yeah.
Of course.
I will come back on one condition. You take my son in the first round when he's draft eligible.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
Yeah.
Of course you would.
So let me ask you this.
And again, I don't want to get this clipped in me saying that this happened. Yeah. I'm not saying this happened. I don't think this did happen. But I'm just saying, would you spend a first-round pick for a championship?
But let me ask you this on that, because I'm glad you brought it up, because I was going to ask you this, but I got sidetracked. McNuggets, don't the Lakers pick before the Cavs in the first round?
They do.
So if the Lakers said, Screw you, LeBron. We're going to take Bronny. Even if you did want to go back to Cleveland.
Well,
how would that?
But that brings up another whole set of questions. Is that the Lakers now can bundle that pick with future picks, and they can go out and get a star, maybe a Donovan Mitchell. Although I don't think that's going to be. But I'm just saying. So the Lakers are now in position to bundle that pick. So are they better off drafting Bronny at 17? Are they better off bundling up all of these picks and going out and trading for a star and trying to get Bronny in the second round? Are you know what I mean? Like,
but Jason, is the 17th pick worth that much?
Isn't Jason Tatum
in this
there?
year's draft, which
they're
is
terrible.
week?
Yeah.
The one thing people say is it's not that it lacks talent, just there's not a number one guy. So the best player in the draft could be drafted between 12 and 20 this year because there's no consensus on who the top guys are. So this is a weird draft where the 17th pick may be a little more valuable than another draft where there's a bona fide lock to go the first couple people.
Zach
that makes sense.
So I'm just like that's why this whole thing is so like all these pieces are weaved together. Like the Lakers want a star, and the Lakers have been watching the Donovan situation in Cleveland. How's this going to play out? Can we bundle our picks and go get Donovan? Meanwhile, the Cavs are watching LeBron walk into their court, sit courtside. It's just crazy how this is all tangled together and how this is all weaved together. And yeah, the Lakers pick. And another wrinkle to this, the Pelicans technically own the Lakers pick. So the Pelicans could take that pick as the final piece of the Anthony Davis trade. Now, from all indications, they're not. They're going to defer to next year, and they're going to take the Lakers pick next year. But, I mean, theoretically,
think the Lakers are going to be worse.
When do they got to have a decision on that?
Because they want to know if LeBron.
Is LeBron going to be there or not?
Right. And I don't know the hard deadline. I don't know if it's been reported. I think it's somewhere around like June 1st that they have to declare.
Well, the NBA, the draft happens before free agency, right?
Yeah, the draft is in June.
Right, so they won't know.
But it sounds like the Pelicans are going to defer and take the Lakers pick next year. But, I mean, theoretically, they could take the Lakers pick now as the final piece to the Anthony Davis trade from however many
June
years
1st.
ago.
That's the deadline.
June 1st is the deadline? Okay. So, I mean, this whole thing is just – it's complicated,
man.
man.
A Google message.
It's complicated.
I see it on his watch.
Let's hope it happens. I mean, if LeBron came back another time, that would just be.
It would be
LeBron to Cleveland, Kevin Durant to OKC. Make the NBA better.
Would Dave McMenamin be back to Cleveland?
I actually joked with him last night and said, I can't wait until you have to come back. I will help you house hunt.
And his response?
No.
Can you not say it on the
air? He's not coming back.
Not coming
he's
back.
Not coming
he loves his LA life.
He's about to get married.
He's a fancy schmancy LA guy now.
Yeah, he's staying in LA.
All right,
We're going to have Brooke Pryor on in a sec. Let me read some super chats while we await Brooke's arrival. Knock those out.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Guardians after Brooke.
Because there's two things. I want to talk about the game last night, but I also want to talk about Tyler Freeman in specific.
Yeah.
So two Guardians things. We'll save that for after Brooke.
Guardians ended like an 0 for 20, I think 0 for 22 from their leadoff hitters late in yesterday's game. Go ahead.
So 3 super chats. First one comes from Slim Shaney, who says, I know he's on the last year of a contract and off to a slow start, but I don't think it'd be a take a lot to get him. What do you think about trading for Paul Goldschmidt?
He doesn't fit what they need.
They've already
actually.
they've already got two first basemen.
Yeah,
if you count Manzardo.
They need a right fielder, a center fielder, or a shortstop. I'm not trading for first baseman.
When he said that, I thought he was about to say Paul Pierce. I was going to be like,
I thought he was going to say Paul George.
I thought he was about to say Paul Pierce. Because Paul Pierce in my mind for his antics on
Paul Stanley from Kiss. I don't know.
Yeah, he said something.
Did you see what he said on Fox yesterday?
Paul Stanley?
No. Paul Pierce.
No, what he said?
I didn't see what he said.
Oh.
It's a word that only Tyvus can say. If you guys said it, you'd be canceled.
Paul Pierce is hilarious.
What did he say?
Oh, he slipped. He forgot where he was.
Oh, he cursed.
He slipped the N-word.
Just don't say it, boy. Just don't say it.
Slipped the N-word right on live on TV. He was talking to Keyshawn there.
On Fox?
Yeah. Skip was
say
like
so many things
Skip
right
was
now.
like,
I don't want. Yeah, we're moving on from
Mike
that.
just had 6 strokes and 7 panic attacks.
Next up comes from Danielle Gavorsky says, "What's up, guys? I watch the show every day. Appreciate you guys. Cleveland rocks. Peace out."
Thank you, Danielle.
Danielle, thank you so much.
Thank you, Danielle.
And Mud, our banjo player from last week, says Tyvus getting home late from game 1 because he's doing radio. ... Sounds like a media guy to me.
Hey,
that's right.
Good job, Mud.
Hold on. First of all,
Go ahead, media guy.
Let me clear this up again. I do things for the radio station because they need a helping hand. I am a former athlete. I'm not a media member. I don't get credentials to go to basketball games.
You don't get
Shut it up, funny. Jason.
I've seen you in the Browns press box every week.
So they need a former athlete.
In the press box? In the press?
Box.
Emphasis on press?
They need a box because I was doing pregame.
Yeah.
So they needed box. No. I did it so they didn't want to just say get out. They want to treat you to a meal.
Oh.
So they say
that's gourmet food.
Yeah, a shitty meal.
That's gourmet food that they got there. I can see why.
Anyway, I'm not a media member.
No.
I'm a former athlete.
He just hangs out in the press box at every Browns game.
That's right.
That's not true.
With credentials.
Every Browns,
with media
every
credentials.
Browns home game.
That's a fact.
And the last one comes from Evan419, who says, "Say it, Bull, you won't." Evan, bad influence. Bull, do not say it.
Well, what is that?
I think that he put that when we were talking about what Paul Pierce said. So he's trying to get you in trouble. So bad job, Evan419.
Yeah, he can't get me to say it. I'm
trying
not
to
saying
bait
that
you.
word. Are you crazy? Why would I say that word?
Oh, my goodness. If y'all said that word.
No, my joke was going to be that a lot of people on that network, anyway, it has nothing to do with me.
Earl, with that curtain would have slid back. I would have stood right up.
Not good, not good. All right,
Brooke's logging in. She's logging in right now, so she'll be on in 1 second. So let me do a FanDuel read to knock that out of the way.
Knock it out.
It is winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That is $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And with that, we will welcome in Brooke Pryor, Pittsburgh Steelers beat reporter for ESPN, to help us break down some of Pittsburgh's offseason moves and get us ready for the schedule release tomorrow. How you doing today, Brooke?
I am great. I can't complain. I'm ready for the season to start, which I didn't think I would say like a month ago.
I said that earlier.
Yeah, we were just discussing that.
Like normally in May, I could give a rip about football.
OTAs,
but
man. It's a big time.
You hear some of these games that are lined up already, and I'm ready.
Have you, Brooke? Have there been any breaking news on the Steelers yet? I haven't seen any, unless it's happened in the last hour. I haven't been on my phone, but anything on the Steelers in terms of
nothing
schedule?
in the last. Nothing. Nope. Nothing for them in the schedule yet. I know international games. I would expect those to come out before the actual official schedule announcement, but I don't think the Steelers are in line for any of those this year. So it seems like we're going to be waiting maybe like 24, 36 more hours for official news on the Steelers release.
I'm going to predict Steelers at Bengals week 1 because I know the Bengals are on the road week 2, which means they almost definitely have to be home week 1. The Ravens are playing the Chiefs and the Browns are playing the Cowboys. So I'm guessing they'll want to have one division game week 1. So I'm going to predict Pittsburgh at Cincinnati for week 1.
It wouldn't be the first time. I think they opened up against Cincinnati 2 years ago.
That's right.
In Mitch Trubisky's first game. That was the game that TJ Watt got hurt and really kind of derailed a lot of the early part of that season, although the offense kind of did a lot of the derailing itself. But it didn't help that they didn't have TJ Watt out there. So it wouldn't be unprecedented. Sign me up for that. I'm all for seeing the Steelers defense go against Joe Burrow and the Russell Wilson experience, all of that to get out on the field against the Bengals.
Were you getting cocky because you picked Browns Cowboys?
I did. I predicted Browns Cowboys, so I'm going to try to.
So now you're just going to call them all.
Was that the game where they was missing the field goals or the kickers got hurt or something?
I believe the Steelers had a big lead. The Bengals came. I think Burrow threw a few interceptions. The Bengals came back. And I think they missed an extra point that would have won the game.
Don't be that impressed with his memory. He's a Bengals fan.
Yeah, I think the Steelers then missed a field goal. Then the Bengals missed a field goal. It was
it was something wild.
It was a crazy game. I think I don't remember.
Wow.
It went to overtime.
Who needs Gamecast when we've got you? I mean, that was a flawless play-by-play. That was really impressive. I can't remember like the last game I covered last season, and you've got one from 2 years ago dialed in.
Yeah,
you have ADD.
Hey, Bull, let's see how good your memory is.
Yeah, true.
The Bengals scored a touchdown in that game with 2 seconds left.
Yeah.
Do you remember the play?
I believe it was
And
Burrow
Brooke,
to Tyler Boyd for a touchdown, wasn't it?
That is incorrect. Brooke, do you remember the play?
Oh, I sure don't remember the play. The fact that I could even pull that TJ Watt got hurt in that game, I'm done for the day. That's the most impressive thing I'm going to remember.
Okay, that was impressive. What
do
you got, Mike?
Tyler Boyd scored a touchdown in the third quarter. Jamar Chase caught a 6-yard fade pass with 2 seconds left.
Oh, that's right.
To send it to overtime.
Brooke, what's been your favorite offseason move with Pittsburgh this year?
You know, as much attention as the quarterbacks have gotten, and like deservedly so, I think the Patrick Queen edition is the thing that I think is the best move the Steelers have pulled off, because I remember I was kind of going through and making a Steelers wish list for their free agents and who they could try to pull. And I was going through the list of available, inside linebackers, and I said, Patrick Queen would be the dream, but there's no way they're going to do that because that would be such an un-Steelers-like move to sign the best free agent on the market. And lo and behold, they saw that and said, ha, joke's on you. That's exactly what we're going to do. I think that's a position that they've really put an emphasis on the last couple of years of trying to overhaul. The Devin Bush draft pick didn't go well. They had some injuries there after they tried to, sign Miles Jack. And then he didn't pan out because he was older and on the back end of his career. He obviously came back last year as a guy that was literally on his couch. But they also tried to sign Cole Holcomb, or they did sign Cole Holcomb 2 years ago or last year. And then he ends up with this catastrophic knee injury. And so they have put a lot of resources into it. But I think that Patrick Queen is someone that they didn't have to shop the bargain bin for. They didn't have to look for what's a really good value under the radar type of player. They went for the guy that was square in the middle of the target bullseye and said, that's who we want, and they went out and got him. So I think in this division, the fact that, the Ravens add Derrick Henry, the Browns obviously have a great run game. The Bengals, not so much right now after letting Joe Mixon go to the Texans, but I think that one thing you need to have in this division is a really strong run defense, and the Steelers really shored that up with Patrick Queen.
Is Justin Fields really going to be the kick returner?
God, I hope not. Look, from a story perspective, yes, I would love to write that story. It gives me something exciting to talk and write about. From a logical perspective, why in the world would you put your backup quarterback out there knowing that there was a historically high number of quarterbacks who played in the league last year because of all the quarterback injuries? Yes, I know that the kick return is supposed to be safer now, and they're putting in all of these rule changes to make that the case. And Justin Fields is really fast, and he's a guy that can absorb some contact. But why would you do that when you also signed Cordell Patterson? And if you really want to be creative, put Jalen Warren back there. He's fast; he can stiff arm a guy until next week. But you're not going to put Justin Fields, your backup quarterback, out there when your third string quarterback is either Kyle Allen or John Reese Plumlee, who I hadn't heard of before 2 weeks ago. So I don't think that's really going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it in training camp, because the Steelers like to give us fun things to talk about, like Kendrick Green at fullback before they traded him. So, I'm sure that we will see it, but we will not see it in a real game.
I hate when Bull does this to me, so I'm glad I can get to turn around and do it to somebody else. Percentage chance Justin Fields is the starting quarterback at the end of the season, even if Russell Wilson is still healthy.
Oh, man.
Good question.
There's so many variables in that, too, because, what's the record at the end of the season?
Yeah.
How successful was the offense? How successful is the defense? I think I give it a 50-50.
Wow. Okay.
Especially, listen, and that's because when you look at the contract situation for both of those guys, they're not under contract beyond this season. So at some point, the Steelers have to evaluate Justin Fields to figure out, hey, we didn't pick up his fifth-year option because we're not going to spend $25 million on a guy that we haven't seen with our own eyes in our system. But at some point, you have to figure out, are we going to continue to employ this guy before he hits free agency, or are we going to extend Russell Wilson and employ him longer? Or are we going to go to the draft and try to draft another quarterback? And I think a lot of that depends on how the season's shaping up, what their draft status looks like, where it looks like they're going to be slotted. And this quarterback class is not nearly as strong as the one that we just saw go through when they had, 6 quarterbacks in the first round. So there's a lot of variables there. But because of that, I would say there's a 50-50 shot that Justin Fields is the guy that's taking snaps in the last week of the season.
Brooke, to that point, why is it that Mike Tomlin gave Russell Wilson the job, and they're not having a real competition. Because from my perspective, I mean, we all know Russell Wilson is a much more accomplished quarterback of the two, but I would argue that Justin Fields still has, at this point, way more upside than Russell Wilson. Now, I don't know if he's going to ever reach it, but so why would they not have a competition? And even though he's guaranteed it, but maybe that's not true. Maybe secretly there is, and there's a chance that Fields could start week 1, or no buying that.
I think that there is a competition. I don't know how realistic it is that means that Justin Fields will start week 1. I think that Mike Tomlin's been very intentional in saying the phrase pole position every time he talks about the quarterback's depth chart. And so help me God, if I hear the phrase pole position one more time after the first week of the season, I give up, I quit. I'm jumping into one of the 3 rivers. But I think that he's doing that because he wants to avoid the situation that happened with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, where internally Mitch Trubisky was said, hey, this guy's the starter. But externally, we saw a quarterback competition through camp where they wouldn't say who the starter was, but Kenny Pickett wasn't getting many first-team reps, although sometimes Mason Rudolph was like, oh, maybe this guy's going to be the leader in the clubhouse. Maybe he'll come out and start week 1. But it just became very convoluted and I think was a source of tension. And you saw then they get to week 4, unceremoniously take Mitch Trubisky out, put Kenny Pickett in, and everyone is at a disadvantage in that situation because Kenny Pickett didn't have very many reps with the starters during training camp. And so I think this is a way to say, hey, this is the pecking order that we want to go with. We want Russell Wilson to establish a leadership infrastructure on the offense that hasn't existed in the last couple of years. But to do that, he kind of has to be put in a place in pole position. Unfortunately, I hate to use that phrase, but he has to be kind of given a role to be able to take it and run with it. And the Steelers said to Justin Fields, hey, we're going to trade for you. We don't necessarily see you as a starter right now, but we want you to learn under Russell Wilson. Maybe we don't want you to pick up all of his habits and the things that have not gone well for him recently, but we want you to learn how to be a pro, how to function in a franchise that is not just kind of hapless and constantly struggling to get out of its own way. So I think that they're doing all of this very intentionally to eventually set up Justin Fields to take over if he shows them what they want to see on the field.
Brooke, after they didn't pick up Najee Harris's 5th-year option, so do you think this will be his last year, and was you shocked that they didn't pick up his option?
I was lowercase shocked that they didn't pick up his option because financially, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why you wouldn't pick that up. That was what, $6.7 million? That's pretty inexpensive for a guy that's given you 1,000 yards in each of his first 3 seasons, running behind an offensive line that has not been very consistent. It's finally starting to turn a page, but he's had all that production behind an inconsistent offensive line with just a carousel of quarterbacks that there hasn't been any real rhythm offensively, and Najee Harris is still getting it done. He's not doing it in a sexy way by any means, but he's still very productive. And the way he ended last season, I think, showed how good he can be when they figure out the right balance of him and Jalen Warren and get a quarterback in there that's moving the ball. And then you factor in the fact that he's going to be in Arthur Smith's system, who's a guy that wants to run the ball, that's going to do things in the run game and really emphasize the trenches to get Najee Harris a lot of touches. But I think the Steelers also said, hey, we do have Jalen Warren, and he is much more inexpensive, and he's just as productive in a different way, but he's a more dynamic back, where Najee Harris is kind of just a grind and pound type guy, ground and pound type of guy. And so I think that this is their chance to say, how does this work in Arthur Smith's system? And do we think that we can replace Najee Harris with a big-bodied back in the draft next year and pay less for him than we would Najee Harris? I think that, yes, the Steelers are going to be interested, depending on how the season goes, in trying to work out a deal with Najee's team in that time between the end of the regular season and free agency. But I think if Najee Harris's team thinks that they can get more on the open market for a guy that's had all of these 1,000-yard seasons, they're probably going to look elsewhere.
Real quick, Brooke, 30 seconds. Recap of the Steelers draft and one player that will have the biggest impact.
Ooh, I'm going to go with Zach Frazier, the center that they got, in the second round, because they have not had a very consistent center since Pouncey retired. That has been an area that they have tried to convert Kendrick Green from guard to center. That didn't go well. They brought in Mason Cole, hoping that he would be a leader and a consistent center, and he had trouble cleanly snapping the ball last year, which is kind of a big deal for a center. So I think that Zach Frazier, with all of the college experience that he had, that's the guy he's going to plug in, be a day one starter, and be the thing that really gets this offensive line turned around and going in the right direction.
All right, Brooke, remember who told you Steelers at Bengals week 1. Thanks for joining us.
You better stretch on those victory laps.
I'll go ahead and pre-write that story. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You got it. I'm happy to help. We'll see you. Brooke Pryor, of course, covers the Steelers, and soon enough, training camps will be here. OTAs are still going on.
You need some water from all those victory laps?
Yeah, I don't know. Thanks, Brooke. We appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's switch gears, talk some baseball. The Cleveland Guardians. And you had a question about Tyler Freeman. Guardians won a game last night, 7-0.
I did. We'll talk about the game in a sec, but I do want to start with Tyler Freeman in specific, because that was one of Jason's guys entering the season he was super high on, and it's been, let's say, an up and down season for Tyler Freeman.
Not so great.
More down
More
than
downs
ups.
than
Not so
ups,
great.
but he does have 4 home runs, which is double the production that the Guardians typically expect from center field. So I'm just curious, now that we're 40 games, 40 and change into the season, 41 games officially. Jason, how you feeling about Tyler Freeman? Is he the full-time guy in center field for the Guardians, or was this a pipe dream project that may not yield the results you had hoped?
I mean, I still think he's probably the best of what they have there, but that doesn't mean you're not looking for an upgrade. Certainly you can do better than a 188 average and a 622 OPS. I was really impressed with how quickly he took to the position defensively, and he hit the ground running in center field, and that's not easy to go from second base. I mean, I remember Jason Kipnis trying to play outfield. It wasn't pretty, but Tyler has really picked it up well.
Yeah,
I think he's made some terrific plays in center field. And the thing that's funny about it is I always thought his bat, he's a guy who's going to hit 280, and maybe he still will. It's still really early in his career. He's just a guy that is going to hit 280 every year. And he may not have a ton of power, but he's going to put the bat on the ball. But if you look at the advanced metrics, he's very, very average, below average in a few categories. There's nothing that really stands out about him other than the contact rate. He's got a really low strikeout whiff percentage type thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, certainly I'm not going to plant the flag in the ground that Tyler Freeman's going to be the center fielder for the next 10 years. No. I just think he was the best option of the guys available to them. I still like him better than Florial in center field every day. But certainly there's room to improve or room to upgrade if they can find a better option.
Let's face it. The reality is, despite how good their record is, they have very few guys set in stone in terms of offense.
I mean, 3 spots that you mentioned earlier, for sure. You could right field, center field, and shortstop.
The reality is that they expected jumps from all their young guys, and none have taken jumps. None. Arias, Rocchio, Freeman. I'm not going to put Manzardo because he's had 15 at-bats.
Right.
All those guys, Bo Naylor, none of those guys are playing well.
Yeah.
None of them offensively. The only guy that's come out of nowhere this year to play well offensively is David Fry.
Yeah.
That's it. And he's not one of the guys that they were expecting.
No.
Quan was very good in year 1, slight step back in year 2, and now he's gone ahead 2 steps in year 3.
Yeah.
Jimenez seems to be trending in the right direction. We know what Jose is. Josh Naylor. Josh Naylor is been fantastic. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nobody else hitting. And it's going to catch up with it. Yesterday was a bizarre game. They were getting no hit through 5 or 6. I think they had 1 hit through 7.
I was kind of
and then they scored 7 runs in the last 2 innings.
Yeah, I was trying to keep an eye on it. Bybee pitched well. Didn't get the win.
He did, but he didn't. Well, he didn't go deep into the game.
Yeah, that's becoming a problem.
Yes,
he's 5 1/3 innings. He's into 90 pitches.
Right, they
95
didn't even pitch
pitches.
7 innings. At least 6.
You got to at least get through 6.
Has it only been one pitcher? McKenzie's the only one that pitched 7 innings this year in one game.
I don't know.
Didn't Ben Lively do it one game?
He did.
Or am I making that up? I thought he had one game where he pitched 7
McKenzie did it, but I don't feel
they
like
haven't
nobody
had a
else
lot.
did.
They haven't had a lot.
Particularly Bybee.
Yeah.
He's got to get deeper into games.
Yes.
It's
not good enough.
This is becoming an issue with him.
The Guardians, I'll tell you, it's just, and Zach and I talked about this on the Ultimate Guardian show yesterday.
6-0. Oh, it say 0-0. I thought it said 6.
No, he's only made 2 appearances in the majors.
He's one of their top pitching prospects. He's been up and down this year.
He made his major league debut this year and got smoked.
I was about to say his ERA.
He came up for 1 start, got smoked, got sent back down, then he got called up as the 27th man in a doubleheader.
Yeah. 12?
That's Al Leiter's son, the former great pitcher Al Leiter.
He gave up 12 runs?
No, he got hit hard in his first start.
That's not how ERA works, Ty.
ERA is number of earned runs times 9 divided by innings pitched.
So it's how many you would give up if you pitched 9 innings in a game. That's
how many did he pitch?
That's bad.
Yeah, how many did he pitch before he got pulled?
I don't remember, but he gave him a lot.
It wasn't many.
That's still not
It was
great.
like 3 innings, I think, maybe less. I don't remember.
He was terrible in that start.
Yeah.
I remember he got smoked. But it was still a good win because they were down. They weren't down. They were unable to hit the whole game. And why can I not remember who started for the Rangers? Because I didn't watch much of the game yesterday because of the Cavs.
Was it Lorenzen?
Yes, it was. Michael Lorenzen.
Lorenzen. Yeah, he did a great job. He had no hitter going for a while.
The boy had a good game. Rocchio.
The Guardians had not had a hit from their leadoff hitter in 5 straight games before the 8th inning yesterday, or the 8th or 9th. I can't remember when they got that hit. The leadoff spot's been a disaster since Stephen Kwan's been out.
It's going to be.
They've tried Freeman. They've tried Rocchio. They've tried Florial. None of those guys should be batting in the leadoff spot. We talked about this.
There is no great option.
The option is Zach's. I've been saying David Fry when he's in the lineup. I still think that makes sense. Zach suggested yesterday, just move everybody up a spot.
Yeah.
Have Jimenez lead off, Ramirez 2, Naylor 3. And I'll tell you something else. And I know Kyle Manzardo hasn't done much, and he played yesterday. But why is he playing every other game right now? I don't understand.
I don't know.
He's got to be in the lineup every day. Not only does he need to be in the lineup every day, they got to play him at first base a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't just have him DH.
Yeah.
And he needs to bat in the middle of the lineup. Stop with this batting him in the bottom of the lineup. He's got no protection down there. Put David Fry in the leadoff spot, Jimenez 2, and put Manzardo 4, right between Ramirez and Naylor. Woo. I know that sounds crazy, but you got to throw him in the deep end of the pool. This guy's your best hitting prospect.
Wait a minute.
Stop messing around.
You put him where?
I'm putting right in the middle of the lineup, 3 or 4.
I wouldn't put him there.
Well, that's what I'm doing.
I'd put him 6th.
I was going to say
want
5th.
protection, Jason. I need a hitter behind him.
5th.
No, he's got nobody behind him.
Are you really scared of Kyle Manzardo if you're in another team? That's what I'm saying. Like he's not a guy that needs protection. Like this isn't Manny Ramirez in front of David.
Where is he batting 7th right now?
But okay, I get what you're saying. I still think if he's batting ahead of Ramirez or ahead of Naylor, he'll get a few better pitches because of the guy up next.
I mean, if anything, put him behind a speed guy, so hopefully he sees more fastballs.
Where is he at now? Where is he currently hitting right now?
Bat him
okay,
second.
fine.
Where is he at in the?
Let's go put that. Okay, I like that too.
That's what I
Let's
thought.
go Jimenez 1 and Manzardo 2.
I mean, the hope is obviously if your leadoff batter reaches, although you just point out that that's not happening. But if your leadoff batter reaches, theoretically you should see more fastballs because you're trying to keep the guy.
I actually think that would be a great spot, the 2 spot, if you lead off Jimenez. Or Fry, whatever.
I haven't seen Manzardo at the plate.
Well, Fry's not a speed threat.
No, that's true.
I haven't seen it lately. Is his first pitch still the fastball straight down?
I did not see much yesterday.
I know
I see him back yesterday.
The first couple of starts, they right down the middle. And he
needs to be more aggressive. But listen, you got to give the guy's been up for a week, and he's played like 4 games.
Yeah.
So it's way too early. He's had a couple of good at-bats, but he's had some bad at-bats. It's going to happen. Got to give him a little time, and the only way he's going to get comfortable is by playing some first base and by playing every day.
I do agree he needs to play more first, and I feel like they're deferring to the veteran on that because Naylor doesn't like the DH. Naylor likes to play the field, and maybe this is why they didn't want to bring him up in the first place because of this exact thing that we're seeing with this tug-of-war here.
Josh is a great teammate. He's got to understand that Kyle Manzardo needs to play some first. Not every day, but he needs to play some first. And if Jose needs to DH once a week, okay, sit Manzardo once a week. I get it. You can't sit Naylor. And as Zach pointed out, that's why they're working Manzardo in the outfield a little bit. So they get,
or Willie. They just put anything.
He's got to play 6 out of every 7 games right now. There's no reason not to.
Y'all got any pool with the Guardians? Tell them I'm available.
What's that?
I could go out and do the.
No, you can't. No offense, but you cannot play Major League Baseball. I mean, it's frustrating. Now, again, in the end,
what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with me?
You don't think I can hit that? You don't think I can hit the ball?
No.
You can't hit
Absolutely not.
Are we still doing this thing with Jason? Oh, I mean, not Jason. Jay Crawford. McNuggets.
Tyvus, do you not realize that the greatest baseball players of all time fail almost 70% of the time?
Did Bo Jackson fail?
Yes, about 75%.
72% of the time.
Yeah.
Now you comparing yourself to Bo Jackson.
I think Bo. By the way, I thought
You're
Bo
comparing yourself to Bo Jackson.
We're both good athletes.
I thought Bo could have been a Hall of Famer if he'd only played baseball, or if he'd only played football.
I feel if he didn't hurt his hip, he'd probably been a Hall of Famer in both anyway.
Bull, I feel the same way about myself.
This man.
I love the confidence.
Thank God it's 12:55.
I love the confidence. The Guardians remain in first with the victory, and despite the obvious holes in their starting team, the defense and the bullpen continues to get the job done. The Royals lost yesterday. What did the Twins do? They won. So the Twins are a game. Oh, no, the Twins didn't play yesterday. That's right.
They played
the Twins are a game out. Royals are a game and a half out. Tigers.
Where are the Twins? That was the light schedule yesterday.
They played the
Most
Yankees.
Mondays
They
are.
played the Yankees.
And actually, most of the teams played, but the Twins happened not to.
It was rained out
Twins are
yesterday.
hosting the Yankees the next 3 days before coming to Cleveland.
So y'all don't think I can be the leadoff?
Oh my God in heaven!
I mean, it ain't.
Thanks for watching.
It ain't no better than what's going on now.
By the way,
real quick.
Wait, no, real quick.
Is it on what Tyvus said?
Yes.
Okay, then good.
Me hyping my PS254 rebounding is more in real land than him hitting a Major League Baseball.
Well, that's true.
When we set this up with Jay,
Go ahead.
because we are going to do this.
Yeah.
Whether it's at a Major League Baseball field or whether it's at a field in the backwoods of Chagrin Falls, who knows? We will do this. Tyvus, if you don't hit an absolute piss missile off Jay after striking out in softball and barely hitting it out the infield.
I don't even think you'll make contact.
First of all, when did I strike out
You
in
didn't strike.
softball?
You hit it right. You had one at bat. You grounded it.
Thank you. Yeah. What you
Which doesn't do you any favors.
He's cutting
Trust
the
me. You're not-
lineup
I don't
down
think you're
to
helping your
10
cause
this
here.
year, so
But
I
if you
get
don't
more
hit
chances.
if you don't
at
hit a
bat.
piss missile off Jay, I don't know how we can take anything you say seriously. I'll be honest. Like, there's never been more pressure on a meaningless at bat than Tyvus has when he faces Jay this
Well,
summer.
if we're doing that, you need to play if we do that softball game again. Are we doing that game?
We should play that softball.
Yeah, wait a minute. I don't like
That's out of my knowledge.
Are we getting invited?
I feel some type of way, Big Nuggets, because the way you're phrasing this, you making it seem like I'm not gonna take Jay smooth over the fence. Like he has Jay Crawford stands no chance. I'm gonna tell you that
making it
right
seem
now.
that.
Jay, I'm telling you right now, your stuff is going clear over the fence. Clear, and I'm flipping the bat as soon as it's over with. I'm telling you. I guarantee that I send Jay Crawford over the fence. Guarantee. It's not even. I put everything on my bank account on this that he going over the fence. Yes, it's Jay.
Does anybody think that Tyvus is even going to make contact?
He might foul one off.
Ain't nobody fouling nothing off.
If Jay tries to get cute and throws him a changeup and Tyvus is out in front, he might foul
No,
off.
listen, Tyvus is very competitive.
Oh,
Jay
Jay's
is in that
crazy
same
competitive.
tier of competitive. Like,
Jay is going over the fence.
You saw him at the softball game.
Oh, yeah.
He was taking that very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Jay walked in saying, "I don't care."
Yeah.
And his wife goes, "You care."
Yeah.
And one pitch in, when Jay realized the teams were not stacked in his favor,
maybe
turned into.
We got screwed in that softball game. The team was terrible.
Hey, you know what's funny about this show, Jason? We started the show before we came on with Bo being like complaining about the refs is loser mentality.
Yes.
Yep.
And a bad umpire in softball. And Bo.
What?
It's a loser mentality.
Saying that that's
had
not the
Jay
same
on
as the
your team.
refs.
You
I'm not blaming the
Crying
refs.
about the rosters.
The rosters were unfair, Mike. You know that.
I plead the fifth.
Our team, we had all the scrubs on our team.
We would have won
You had
if
the
I was
Cavs
there.
in-house DJ.
What's that?
You had the Cavs in-house like.
We would have won if I was there.
What do
Easily.
you mean we were the members of this show were split up amongst the teams.
I would have been on the whoever lost.
Jason,
we
were
would have
you
won.
and
Whatever
Mike on the
team
other
I
team?
was
Yeah.
on, we'd have won.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Mike
You will
and I were on
admit
the
you
red
had a
team.
way better team. No?
I thought it was fair.
I thought Steph did a great job splitting the teams up.
I thought
Stephanie
it was
did.
fair.
I love Stephanie.
Did
She
you
did
bet?
a terrible
And
job.
wants
with
to
the team.
chime
Bet
in.
that game?
I thought
Guys,
it was
it's a
fair.
terrible sign when I was like one of our best offensive
Anthony
players
was
on
like
our
the
team.
third best player on our team. He
It was
can't play
not
to
a
save
good
his life.
look.
Well, listen, Anthony Hedges is the worst player on
When
the Major
was
League
this
Baseball team, and
game?
they're in first place.
It was last summer.
You just said Anthony Hedges.
Why didn't nobody invite me?
You were. I'm sure you were
Tyvis,
invited.
you were invited 12
We're
times.
all invited.
When is it?
We got to have a powwow. We should play UCSS versus WKYC.
We should do that. Who gets Jay?
Huh?
WKYC. So I can go ahead and send him right over the fence.
I want Jay on our team.
And I'm batting lead off. I'm gonna start the game and demoralize it.
Listen, I'm gonna be the manager.
I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure that Jay's first pitch go right over the fence, so he's down for the rest of the day.
See you on
Tell Jay Crawford I said it.
An actual overtime topic.
Okay, what do we got?
We'll tell you in a second.
Oh.
Peace. I sent in the rundown, which means you didn't look.